is the Big O Show. This 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 is...
So here's the putting green. See? There you go. Got two flags. One was over there where Cutter's Edge Pro. It's not coming out now. Come on. Come on, wind. Give me a little wind. No, unfortunately. But there you go. And this one says Big O here. There you go. So there's my putting green. It's about, I would say about 25 feet, something like that. I get to practice, have a little fun. See? And then, of course, we got, you know, the bunkers. Got to have the bunkers, man. Got all kinds of bunkers there. You know what I'm saying? So that's a taste of our backyard. There's Maiden right there. Maiden. Bono, how you doing, Bono? Bono. Bono. He's a Carolina dog, by the way. These dogs are amazing. Their temperaments are awesome. But there is the Sylvester Palm, which is just beautiful. All right, call my guys, Will and Mike at Cutter's Edge Pro. They will take care of you. Dogs are not included, okay? Can't include the dogs. Those are mine. But the exceptional work, oh, baby. Oh, baby, yes. Make your home an oasis. CuttersEdgePro.com. Go to their Instagram page, by the way, so you can see a lot of the before and after work that they do. And it is exceptional, baby. This thing's been on here for about 9 months. No grass growing through it or anything like that. Right, Bono? Huh? Bono!
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
Welton Rayom has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They're committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. Property damage claims to your home, business, or condo as a result of a hurricane. Welton Rayom can help. Water, mold, fire, smoke damage, Welton Rayom can help. Call 954-966-4646. When you move, you need a reliable company led by passionate folks, eager to assist its customers during a transitional process that needs to be smooth. Call Essential Moving Experts at 844-368-5750 for all your local and long-distance moving needs. You can rely on Essential Moving Experts. Mention the Big O Show and get $150 off. Family owned and operated, they offer free 30-day storage, full-service moving, fully licensed, bonded, and insured. Moving was never so easy. EssentialMovingExperts.com.
For over 16 years, EJDConstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDConstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDConstruction.com.
Welcome to Red Light Therapy, a revolutionary technology perfected by NASA to aid in muscle strengthening and recovery. Red and infrared light has the capacity to penetrate deep into the cell's mitochondria, potentially leading to increased energy, faster recovery, and the optimal performance your body demands. Train, fight, recover.
Statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
All righty. Good morning, boys and girls. Time to rock and roll on the show. Lots of things to talk about. I wonder what happened last night, huh? Something must have happened last night. I don't know. Something must have happened last night because, boy, I got to tell you, the interwebs were kind of going crazy with the Heat Nation last night. That was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun last night to watch Jimmy Butler do his thing and just watch that performance. We kind of needed it, as a Heat Nation, because it hasn't necessarily been the kind of season that we all wanted. I think a lot of us were hoping this was going to be a better team, and it wasn't, and it had to struggle to get into the playoffs and kind of hang on to a playoff spot. And to have a performance like that against the number 1 seed when you are the number 8 seed, I mean, it just doesn't get more impressive than that. And last night was one of those performances of a lifetime. The kind of performance that you're going to remember forever, because there are very few of those that you're going to have in your memory. And those are the kind that you're going to be able to sit back and talk with the fellas or at the bar or something along those lines. And you're going to be going, you remember when Jimmy Butler put up 56 points, against the Bucks to give the Heat a 3-1 lead in the first round of the playoffs. That's kind of what it's going to be all about, right? And this is going to go down like the Wade performance of a couple of years ago. Well, already, 2006? So that was 17 years ago was the Wade performance. Think about that. 17 years ago was that Wade performance. That's crazy. So we think about LeBron, right? there's certain performances that you're going to remember, and Jimmy Butler's last night was one of those that you're going to remember forever because it was just one of those things that it's money players come up in money like situations. And that's exactly what that man did last night. He's a money player. He's the only money player on the team. That's probably the only frustrating part about that performance last night is that you're just wondering, like, can he get some help? Like that scene when he's on the floor with the ball and he's trying to find somebody, and it's like, can somebody help this man? That kind of deal when you're watching that last night. But anyway, great performance last night by the Miami Heat, by Jimmy Butler. Let me just, although Caleb Martin was pretty strong last night. He made a difference yesterday. So Heat defeat the Bucks 119-114. I'll get into that now. Cameron Wolf will join us at 10:30. Manny Navarro will stop by at 11:30. Panthers are off tonight. Wednesday, they're back in action. We got the draft on Thursday. Remember, we're not going to be doing a show on Thursday. We'll do one on Friday, but we're not going to do one on Thursday. Thursday, we'll do cut-ins. I will do some live cut-ins and things like that you can just watch on the platform. If there's anything Miami related, I will chime in with that. But got a bunch of things to talk about today on the program. Some NBA action last night, more tonight. Marlins unfortunately lose. And we've got a bunch of NFL news, including Aaron Rodgers obviously going to the New York Jets. Eventually that ended up happening. Got a Dolphins story that I want to get into. And Jalen Hurts also. And remember, I told you how with the media and how the treatment of Tua is unfair. Well, let's go how the media is treating another NFL player unfair. And it's just one of those things that is, kind of crazy. But we'll get into all of that. Appreciate all of you out there already on the board. I see Daniel Barroso. That's a new number one. Was that the number one? Let me look at the live board here to make sure I am right. Because that is new. Wow. Daniel Barroso. You're special, dude, because you're not the normal names that get in there first. So congratulations to you. Knight is in. Steve Chapman in. Brian Walter. Jamie Zoria says Jimmy's a beast and what a treasure trove the Jets paid. I am sure will come back to bite them in the rear. Well, of course, when the Dolphins kick their ass, that'll bite them in the rear. And Jamie also reminds everybody, which is true, smash the hell out of the like button whenever you're watching. And by the way, happy 56-point Tuesday. Do you know how old I am? I'm 56. So there you go. So Jimmy Butler pulled a big O last night, 56. I love it. True Fin fan already in with a super chat. Thank you, sir. Clumsy Adebayo is his new name. Thank God for Jim. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Remember, you can make a donation through Cash App or Venmo, and that is Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show on Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. And Adam, thank you for the love on Venmo. Remember, on Cash App and Venmo, the show gets 100% of the donation. On YouTube, we get only 70 because YouTube takes 30%. Like, they don't make enough money. Jesus. Anyway, Adam Pinkster says, oh, so pumped after watching Jimmy drop double nickels last night. And I'm also stoked about the Jets finishing third in the AFC East season. That's right. Hashtag Heat Nation, hashtag Fins Up. Thank you, Adam. Appreciate you, my friend. Thank you immensely for the donation, as always. And yes, the Jets will finish third only because the Patriots are going to be so bad that we'll give them the fourth spot. But I appreciate it, sir. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And remember, also, you can make a Bitcoin donation through Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. C. Dola's got him in 5. Kyle Cockrell is in. Lenny Pena in. Billy Shaw. Coach AJ says Jimmy without the second best scorer on her team. Yeah, I know. Emilio Nunez is in from Michigan. Billy Shaw in. Isais in. Let's see. He says spreading good vibes, says Billy Shaw. Frankie Fresco says Heat in 6. Ragin is up. Night. Wayne D Experience. Ronald Hubbard says good morning, Big O. Please hit the like button. Exactly, folks. Hit that like button. Very important. Gonzo is in. Terry Lynch, Giovanni Castelloni, Nyborg, Bradster. Kyle says Jasmine is ready for a run-up. I keep wanting it to drop under 57, but it just doesn't seem to want to get that low. You know why, right? Because Bitcoin hasn't moved. Bitcoin has stayed in that 27, 2, 3, 4 range. Bitcoin's about to make a run to the mid-30s. You'll see. It's about to any day now within the next couple days or a week. It might be today, it might be tomorrow, but within the next couple days to a week, Bitcoin's about to make another run, and it's going to go right into the mid-30s. I bet you. So we will watch as the climb, and when that happens, Jasmine will start running a little bit more. But hey, listen, I'm a Jasmine guy, so I know it's a long play and it's a risky play, but I love the tokenomics of it. The company, I think they are headed in the right direction. It's led by 2 former Sony executives. They've got deals and partnerships already with major freaking corporations. And I'm a big believer in Jasmine. So we'll see. We shall see. You know how it is, Kyle. We just got to be patient and hang in there and wait. Wait for our turn, but it'll happen. Brandon Flood is in. Gonzo is in. Tua Time in. He says Jimmy carrying the Heat to a 3-1 series lead versus number 1 seeded Bucks, yet he gets buried on national media by the Jets and the Lakers. Yeah, because and let's get into a little talk. I'll get back to the chat board there in a minute, but because I know that there's a lot of gripes this morning, and you want the national media and like ESPN to focus on Jimmy Butler and the Heat. Here's the problem. It's a great story for us because the Heat are kind of, they're kind of on the outside looking in. You didn't even expect them to win this series. Now, all of a sudden, with the Giannis injury, it opened up the door. They've taken advantage. Giannis comes back, and Miami comes through with, a Jimmy Butler legendary performance. And now, all of a sudden, they're in the driver's seat at 3-1, and they've got a really good shot of advancing because all they got to do is win one of the next 3. And the Bucks can win the next 3. There's no doubt that they can win the next 3. But now Miami has set themselves up, right? So it's a great story. It was a great performance. But Miami isn't sexy. And so they're in love with LeBron, so they're going to do that. They're in love with football. So football's always going to go over basketball no matter what. So then it's Aaron Rodgers, plus he's going to New York. So you're going to a New York team. So now all of a sudden the number 1 market, so you get all that buzz. So that's why you're going to get things like that. Plus, nobody really believes in the Heat. So while it's a nice underdog story and it's a great performance by Jimmy, and by the way, I'm going to tell you about something about this performance last night that nobody's going to talk about because nobody has the balls to talk about it. Nobody's really thinking about it right now. Only a twisted person like myself would think about this. But we'll get to that point in a minute. But anyway, so you're not sexy. And because you're not sexy, you're not going to draw eyes and you're not going to draw ratings. And remember what I've told you about how the media thinks. It's all about sensationalism. What's going to draw more attention to my website, to my article, to my name, all of that. Oh, no, the Dolphins are trying to trade for Lamar. Oh, no, the Dolphins are trying to trade for Derrick Henry. Oh, no, the Dolphins are trying to trade for Aaron Rodgers. And, and they're all lies, right? They're all lies, but the buzz is what gets you out there, right? And so Heat beating the Bucks is not sexy to the rest of the nation because this Heat team is not sexy. And that's the problem, unfortunately. And that's why they're not going to get the attention. Jimmy is not going to get the attention that he deserves, not the Heat, Jimmy Butler. Because let's be honest, Jimmy Butler is the one that deserves, the love. Nobody else, just Jimmy. So that's the reason why you're not going to see them dominate the headlines, because LeBron is sexier. They're in LA, which is one of the two biggest markets along with New York, right? And then you've got the Aaron Rodgers story, which is in the other biggest market, which is New York. So you're going to try to draw storylines from there first and foremost. Plus the whole Dylan stuff, right, with Dylan Brooks and talking shit and all that. And John Moran also with his ugly ass elbow. Obviously more storylines because he's coming off his controversy. So there's a lot of storylines and let's say lightning rod type of conversations coming out of that matchup right there. So that's why you're going to see them dominate the headlines more than Jimmy Butler, because we are not sexy, folks. Sorry, but that's the truth. We're not sexy. Hell of a Heat win, 119-114. They take a 3-1 series lead, which is a beautiful thing. Let me make sure here. Oops, sorry about that. Wait a minute. Okay. Okay. I just got a message. We are set. Okay. We got Alter Bridge tickets in Quebec. Yeah, I'm actually going to go see Alter Bridge in Quebec because I'm in Montreal for Metallica. So my buddy just got the tickets for Alter Bridge. And so we realized that Alter Bridge just announced their tour. And it's a hell of a tour because it's with Mammoth, and it's like 3 excellent bands that I love. Anyway, and I'm a big Alter Bridge fan. They're awesome. So we're gonna go see them the night before we go see Metallica. So we're gonna drive over to Quebec and check it out. I'm gonna talk to Poupart today, so we'll get him on and we'll have some fun, and we'll talk a little bit about Montreal and Quebec. So I get to get the Alter Bridge concert in there. It's a good day already. Jimmy won yesterday. I know Bitcoin's about to make a move. And here we go. We get our Alter Bridge tickets to go along with Metallica. Come on, man. You can't beat that, man. Anyway. All right. So great win last night. And one of the all-time performances in Heat history. It's either second or third to LeBron's performance in Game 6 against the Celtics. Wade is number one. Wade will always be number one. There is nothing like the Wade performance against Dallas. You're down by, 11 or 13 points in the third quarter, something stupid like that. And, Wade tells the story, I'm not going down like this. And then the rest is history. And he just, put the team on his back for the rest of the way and just blew it out. Every game was scoring a ton. I'm going to go with Wade always against Dallas in that game as the number one performance of all time, because you lose that game, you're going to lose the finals. And not only did you win that game because Wade put you on his back, but then he put you on his back for the rest of the series. And to me, that will always be the number one performance of all time for the Miami Heat organization. It's really whether you want LeBron or Butler. And I'm going to go Butler over LeBron. Do you know why? LeBron is supremely gifted. There are very few players in the history of the game that the Lord blessed with more physical ability than LeBron James. That size, that speed, that ability, we've never seen it before. We've never seen a Mack truck that can handle the basketball and run the floor the way he does. We saw Magic, not some of you out there, those of us that are old enough, but we saw Magic and we were freaking out on a 6'9" point guard. Okay. Now, LeBron is 6'8", but LeBron can move way better than Magic. Okay. Magic was a much better point guard. We all know that. Well, at least I know that. But LeBron is the better player overall, probably, is the way you look at it, right? And athletically, oh my God, it's not even close. What Magic could do with his vision and his passing skills and dribbling, yeah, that's sick. But LeBron is a freakish guy. So his performance against the Celtics was more of a personal thing that he had to kind of cross a threshold, that clutch threshold he had to cross. And it was kind of like his graduation day that day. See, Jimmy Butler's already graduated. Jimmy Butler's always been a son of a bitch. He just had to grow his offensive game, and that's what he did to turn himself into an all-star type player. And so watching Jimmy Butler, and he had less around him than LeBron did against the Celtics. So I'm going to go with Jimmy Butler as the second best performance in Heat history. Okay. I'm not going to compare other sports. That's silly because it's a whole different ball game. I'm not going to include like hockey or football or those things are so team oriented, that the individual can really stand out in baseball and can really stand out in basketball. But, there's so much team oriented, especially in football, that it's not really a good comparison. So I'm going to keep it in basketball. And I'm going to say Wade won, and this is the second best singular performance I have ever seen in a Heat uniform, only because, one, Butler's not as talented as LeBron, and two, Jimmy has less people around him than LeBron. And, Miami's team was like a heavily favored team. They had a whole bunch. They have 4 Hall of Famers on that team, right? Ray Allen's a Hall of Famer plus the big 3. That's 4 Hall of Famers on that team. Who's going to the Hall of Fame outside of Jimmy? Maybe Kyle Lowry, but, Kyle Lowry isn't even Ray Allen right now at the end of his career with the Heat. So, you know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, Kyle Lowry might make it to the Hall of Fame. I don't know. I wouldn't put him in the Hall of Fame, but whatever. A really good player doesn't really go in the Hall of Fame for me. You got to be a great player. Pat, I'm on the air, bro. I can't get any tickets. It's up to my buddy to get any tickets unless I have an opportunity. Why? You're supposed to get the thing? Did I get am I supposed to get an email or something like that? I haven't gotten, let me see. I haven't gotten any emails or anything. So I don't know anything about that. So unless my buddy got them, I have no idea. Anyway, so that to me as a performance, I'm going to go number 2 overall. Second greatest performance I've ever seen in a Heat uniform. That's how I kind of would look at it. Impressive. I mean, the kind of money player that you would want any team to have. I mean, that last night was one for the, and then he starts making threes. He shot 3 of 8, but he hit one huge one. And then that second one, I thought it was a 3, but looked like maybe the tip of his shoe was, so it was a deep 2. But he starts hitting those shots. And Jimmy, like, that's not his shot, right? But he has a tendency that when there are clutch moments and desperate moments, he has a tendency of hitting it more in that moment right there. It's money players, man. They're fearless. 56 points on 19 of 28 shooting. He went 3 of 8 from 3-point range. He had 9 rebounds. He had 24 points in the fourth quarter. I mean, that was just an absolute dog performance, junkyard dog performance. Gotta love it, man. And Antetokounmpo played. I mean, he had a great game. He played 38 minutes, had 26 points, 10 rebounds, 13 assists, 2 block shots. Brook Lopez also played a hell of a game, 36 points, 11 rebounds, 3 blocks. Giannis had the help that Butler didn't, but Butler scored 56 points. He scored 30 more than Giannis. So he was Giannis and Brook Lopez. Sadly, Bam did not show up. I mean, and we'll get to that sorry subject in a couple minutes here. But Butler's performance, just absolutely amazing, dude. To just carry this team the way he did. And Giannis, while he was effective, it almost seemed like he was a little bit out of control too at times. You know, it was like he was so desperate to get things done that he wasn't really playing as sharp as I'm sure he would like to play. And what a performance. What a performance. That was absolutely awesome. So, the other thing about this Butler performance that will sit back and in one sense, we're all amazed. We're all watching this performance. We're all super like hyped and pumped. My wife, who had like a brutal headache last night, she was like super excited and all that. And I didn't have a lot of hope for them, you know, as because the game, you know, they were trailing by a lot. And she's like, well, maybe something will happen and they can turn it around. You know, she was just like ever hopeful. And eventually it does turn around. And you go through all of this, right? But in the moment of the performance, as a Heat fan, you're also pissed because you're impressed with Butler, you praise Butler, you admire Butler. Young people out there that are watching, you're idolizing Butler, all those kind of things, all the different adjectives that you want to describe your feelings. But then on the other side, man, aren't you pissed? Aren't you frustrated that he has no help whatsoever? I know Caleb Martin had a couple points, and definitely his defense was outstanding yesterday, and a couple of guys hit baskets, but he didn't really have the help you needed. I know Duncan hit a couple of threes. I get it, but Bam got 15 points on 16 shots. Not very efficient. So you look at it, and that's the part that frustrates you. Bam is getting paid all that money, dude. And I think they blocked his shot 3 times yesterday. And that first half was brutal, dude. I think 2 of the blocks came in the first half. He had a turnover or 2 that were ugly, mishandling the ball, bad shots. It was just, it was a disaster. And to me, that was the frustrating part for me, that Jimmy Butler is killing himself and they're down by 7 or 8 or 9. Jimmy Butler's had a great half and they're down, you know, and it's like, I'm watching this and I'm going, this guy is just an absolute dog and playing his ass off, and there's nobody else around to help him out. And to me, that was the bittersweet part of the entire game. You love watching Jimmy's performance. That shit was sweet. The bitter side was, bro, who's going to step up? Who's going to help this guy? I'm sure those of you that are hanging out at Sports Grill all over South Florida and you're watching it, you're going, what the hell is going on here? Why isn't anybody else helping? Can I have more special grilled wings? You know, that kind of stuff. But it's like that's the bittersweet part. At least you're having some special grilled wings, but you're pissed off that nobody's helping Jimmy out. And to me, that was the frustrating part about that game. Because Jimmy needed a career type of performance just to win the game by 5 points. And luckily, some big shots at the end. Caleb hit a huge shot towards the end. Just frustrating, man. It's frustrating to see that Jimmy Butler does not have the help he deserves. Because when you play at that level, you deserve to be surrounded by. Now, hey, listen, he buried himself. He's the one that wanted Kyle Lowry. And Kyle Lowry, what did he do last night? Did I write it even down? Because he's just so nothing. No, I didn't even bother to write his stats down. He had a couple points. Complete waste of $30 million is Kyle Lowry. My God, what a waste. And that's where Jimmy Butler kind of hurt himself. That he stopped himself from actually possibly getting a real partner in crime. And I gotta imagine that most of the Heat Nation around the world was thinking the same thing I was. Like, damn, dude, if Jimmy had some help. If Jimmy had some help. So let me ask you something. We talked about the frustrations now of watching Jimmy with a great performance and no help. We talked about, is this the greatest single performance by a Heat player in history? My thoughts are second best. I'm putting it ahead of LeBron because he has no help. LeBron had all the help in the world. And this was more personal for LeBron. It was more of a graduation thing. He needed that clutch moment. We knew Jimmy was clutch already. We didn't need last night's performance. So last night's performance was just another chapter in his clutchness. See, LeBron had to learn how to be clutch down here in order to really grow. Jimmy needs help in order to kind of grow in all this. So we talked about the individual performances, okay? So let me ask you something. Here's where we can now, because, comparing the performance of a Dan Marino performance or a Lamar Smith performance or a Ricky Williams performance individually to Jimmy Butler is stupid. That's asinine, okay? It's completely different sports. All kinds of different things have to take place. It's not as individual as what you see with basketball at times. So, if Miami finishes off the upset of the Milwaukee Bucks, where does that rank in Miami teams as upsets? Remember, the key is upsets. Miami teams that were in the playoffs that weren't supposed to win. 03 Marlins, right? Has to be number one forever and always, because the Heat aren't winning the NBA title. Come on. So the Marlins, I don't think anybody will ever top that. Right? We got to go back to the University of Miami football team against Nebraska. Nobody counted them. A lot of people counted them out back in those days because that Nebraska team was loaded, ladies and gentlemen. I know a lot of you youngins out there, you can only go by the history books. Those of us that lived it, it's a whole different ballgame. But if you think about all-time Miami teams going into a playoff scenario and upsetting someone, not regular season, talking playoffs now, there aren't a lot of them. And this one could be number 2 overall, could be number 3, depending. I think the University of Miami might be number 2. I got to give the Marlins number 1 because for you to do what they did in baseball and such a young team, and then to not just beat the Cubs and beat the Giants and all that, but then you beat the Yankees. That's that's crazy, dude. $200+ million payroll against those youngins. That might be the greatest upset of any South Florida sports team ever. And I was thinking University of Miami, Nebraska might be right up there. And then this might be number 3 out of all the playoff teams for Miami that have gone in as underdogs. This might be number 3 overall, because the Giannis injury obviously opened up the door for them to do this. So that's why the other ones, it wasn't really about an injury, creating the opportunity. Let's see. Just had this article pop up, which will happen first. Bitcoin at 100,000, Dogecoin at 50 cents. Well, I don't know. I'm not worried about that. Big O, have you talked about Miami bringing a Cameron Fleming for a visit? Sorry if I missed it. No, I haven't talked about it. And just a jag at lineman. No big deal, bro. Let's see. Bam and Lowry are, yes, they are stealing money, no doubt. Jimmy literally carried the entire team last night to win against the number 1 seed Bucks with Giannis playing. We win this series. This ranks as one of the best upsets Miami pulls off. Yeah, I will probably put it number 3. I was thinking about it. Marlins, Canes, Nebraska, and then this one, right? Anybody, can you come up with something that knocks number 1 off, number 2, or number 3, which is what I'm putting in the Heat and Butler and knocking off the Bucks as the 3rd biggest upset? Which one? We could go Panthers too. We could go Panthers mid-90s, because just getting to the Stanley Cup Finals, the upsets that they pulled over Boston, that was huge for the Cats. I can go for that one too. I can probably that one might actually give some competition to it. I'm still going Marlins number 1. It has to be Marlins number 1, because that team was so young that in baseball it's so hard to do that with so many young guys. But I'm probably going to go still baseball number 1. But you guys tell me, which other Miami teams with upsets in the playoffs would you rank them? Where would you rank them? Is this Jimmy one number 3 where I have it? Do we put the Panthers, the 96 Panthers, do we put them in front of this Jimmy performance, behind the Jimmy performance? Do we put it in front of Nebraska at number 2? Do we put it in front of the Marlins and the Yankees? Marlins and Giants and Marlins and Cubs. That whole run for the damn Marlins was just absolutely amazing. Dolphins over the 85 Bears does not count, bro. The Dolphins were really good in those days. The Bears were undefeated, and it's not a playoff game. That's the regular season. Let's stay on topic, okay? Playoffs. Underdog Miami team, all right? Marino and Miami, they might have been a slight underdog to the Bears, but they weren't like heavy underdogs in the Orange Bowl to the Bears, bro. I don't know, Matthew Blue. You might be really young, but I don't know if you know this. The Dolphins in those days in the Orange Bowl, they were probably favored over everybody. And if the Bears came in, and if they were favored, I don't think it was favored by much. Okay? Not against Marino and that team. And in the Orange Bowl and Don Shula. You might be young, so I don't know. But, most of us as Dolphin fans, we walked into the Orange Bowl convinced we were winning that day. That's the kind of feeling we used to have. Okay? Because 90-something% of the time you walked away with a win from the Orange Bowl. What was the spread of that game? Does anybody know? because I don't think the Bears could have been favored by much. Where's the media hypocrisy for AR saying 95% retired while Tua was having conversations? I've already talked about all that. This Heat team is so confusing. Last Saturday on the road, the entire team played well. At home in game 4, very little good offensive play from the role players. Yeah, Panthers over Pittsburgh in 96 is pretty big too. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's that 90 the Panther run has to be one that has to be put in there because they were definitely heavy underdogs. Bears favored by 2 or 3. Yeah, that's what I thought. Dude, Dolphins Orange Bowl.
It was 2.
Huh? It was 2 points?
Yep.
Yeah.
And that was the lowest besides Dallas. Dallas was a pick 'em that season for the Bears. 2 was the lowest.
Do you know what the Bucks are favored by in the next game? 11.5. So that's why I think this guy that said that, the blue guy, I think he's a youngin. Matthew Blue, I think he's a youngin. There's no way an older person, if he's older than I would have to question his knowledge. One, he didn't listen because I clearly talked playoff game. And 2, Dolphins, Shula, Orange Bowl, they're not underdogs to almost no one in the history of time, okay, in those days. The beauty of this show is I'm the guy that lived those days, so we can actually give you real perspective in those days. And you ever seen the cocky Heat fan, right? Cocky Heat fan is, woo, doggy, really obnoxious, right? It's kind of like cocky Canes fan. Well, that's how we used to be with the Dolphins. We were a cocky Dolphins fan. All right, let's rock and roll with Cameron Wolf. We unleash the Wolf Pack.
We unleash the Wolf Pack as we get the latest in the NFL and the Miami Dolphins with our KSDT CPA Pro Football Report with NFL Network insider Cameron Wolf. KSDT is one of South Florida's largest and one of the country's fastest growing accounting firms. KSDT CPA is a full-service firm that also excels in crypto. Visit them at ksdtcpa.com or call 305-670-3370. Here's NFL insider Cameron Wolf.
All right. See, this is what I love. I love the people that get caught in the moment, Cam. Now we got a guy, Brandon Jimmy, top 3 Miami sports athlete of all time.
I will say,
wait a minute. Just so this guy knows, he's not even in the top 10.
Yeah.
Okay. He's not even in the top 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you know Miami sports better than I do, like in the history of it, right? Has there ever been, and you're probably right about him not being a top 10 athlete, but has there ever been a performance, playoff or otherwise, like what Jimmy did last night?
Wait. Game 3, Dallas finals. You're down by 13, third quarter. Game 3. He then took off, scored almost close to 40 points, and then scored almost 40 points every night. After that, Wade's performance.
But was that singular game more impressive than Jimmy, given the support cast that Jimmy has?
You lose that game, you're done. It's over. By the way,
and obviously that's the finals.
By the way,
so it's a little higher.
That supporting cast for Wade was not that good. Okay,
it was worse than what. Okay,
way better than
say.
Yeah, way better. Yeah, but I mean, it wasn't like the Shaq that he had the year before. You know, that Shaq was super motivated. This Shaq was already gaining weight, and in fact, Zoe was the more important center in the Dallas series than Shaq.
Right.
Actually, Zoe made like all the key defensive plays in that series, which was just absolutely amazing. But I'm gonna go Wade number 1.
Okay, and I'll like I said, I will defer to you because you know this history, and obviously that was more important because it was the NBA Finals that he won. But that
On the
game
road.
that I saw Jimmy Butler, like they were down 13, I believe, at one point midway through the fourth quarter last night, and they were having no one else. Like I think Bam was the second leading scorer with 15, and he played poorly. And so, you know, he would literally carried it on himself. I could have swore I almost turned off the game because I thought like there's no way with 6 minutes left that they're coming back. And then all of a sudden, Jimmy hits a shot. Jimmy gets to the line. You know, they get a steal. Caleb Martin played good down the stretch. Gabe Vincent hit a 3 or 2, and they made the comeback. But I thought that Jimmy was amazing. And I'll tell you this because you know I'm a Sixers fan, right? My heart was both happy and sad at the same time because I knew we had Jimmy, and we didn't appreciate him. And too often Jimmy goes places that like him but don't appreciate him enough.
Well,
Well,
hold on a second. Hold on a second. I think Joel Embiid appreciates him.
Me and Joel are on the same perspective. I would have dumped Ben Simmons in a second.
We would have never seen Jimmy here if it was up to Embiid. Never.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Embiid would have been dumped Ben Simmons, just like I would have. But they got obsessed. They had to choose between, hey, do we want the long-term answer or do we want the short-term answer?
No. It was Tobias. No, doggy. No. It was Tobias Harris.
The problem was they wanted to add Al Horford, and they had to essentially choose between. And Ben Simmons wanted to be on the ball, and Jimmy obviously was on the ball. And you can't have two of those guys playing essentially point guard for your offense. And so Ben had issues with that. That's where it started. And then they tried to restructure their offense, and they said, hey, we're going to go get Al Horford, but we can't afford all of them. And so we're essentially choosing. If they got rid of Ben Simmons, they would have never got Al Horford, and they could have kept Tobias and Jimmy. But they essentially said we can get rid of Jimmy and keep both Ben and add Horford. And they thought the combination of those two were better than just Jimmy.
Well, I think I understood it was either Jimmy or Tobias.
So Tobias had to re-sign a contract,
or you give Jimmy the contract, and they chose the younger one in Tobias. That's what I thought.
Tobias, I guess, was on the core of the long-term extension, but the bigger issue was you could not, and the reason why they got rid of Jimmy, because they would have always taken Jimmy over Tobias. The issue to me was they could not. It was not the fit. Tobias was a better fit with Ben than Jimmy was with Ben.
Yeah.
And so you would have to get rid of one of the two between Ben or Jimmy because of the fit. They felt like they had two guys who were on the ball dominant players who had to have the ball in their hands, and Jimmy and Ben. So you essentially had to choose a ball dominant player. But you're right. Tobias' contract ended up being the one they swapped it for. But Tobias was always going to be on the team.
Well, for me, this is the second best performance in a Heat uniform. I got to go Wade 1 because it was a title. You were on the road in Dallas, game 3. You lose this, you're done. So I like that. And then Jimmy 2. I'm actually putting. Is he still with us? Is he? Oh, there he is. Okay. I'm putting the Jimmy performance number 2 ahead of the LeBron performance of game 6 on the road against the Celtics. And why am I doing that? Because LeBron is, he's like one of the most perfectly designed basketball players in the history of the game. Yeah. So athletically, he's at another level than Butler ever will be. Butler has had to manufacture himself into a star. He's had to work it. Yeah. Whereas guys like LeBron and Kareem and Gretzky and these kind of sick ass athletes, bro, the Lord blessed you. You were just smart enough to fine tune it, but your talent is just at another level. And for me, LeBron's performance against Boston was more about him graduating as a clutch player and those kind of things, because that's what was lacking in his resume until he got to Miami, and that was his watershed moment. That from there on, he kind of like took off. You know what I mean? Whereas Jimmy's always been a hard-nosed, tough-ass, clutch player. And then last night was just another chapter to his clutchness. You know what I'm saying? And last night, again, LeBron again also had 3 Hall of Famers on the court with him: Ray
Yeah.
Allen, Bosh, and LeBron. I mean, and Wade. Whereas maybe Lowry makes it to the Hall of Fame, but at this moment, he's Hall of Shame. He ain't Hall of Fame. He ain't helping anything out. So
Right.
he's nobody around him, bro. Nobody around him. So I gotta
Hey.
go. I gotta go Butler over LeBron against the Celtics.
Gotcha. Like I said, I'll defer to you because I have not followed the Heat as long as you have. I just know watching that Jimmy Butler performance, I haven't seen anything like that in a long time. Not only
Yeah.
from the Heat, but from any team.
Yeah. That was just absolutely sick. Griffin Gaming says a little late to the whole upset conversation, but 71 Dolphins versus the Chiefs could be up there. Yeah, but those teams were like they barely lost games, bro. Those teams were dominant, those 70s Dolphins. I don't know about that, man. I don't know if I would go in that direction. Those are pretty good teams back in those days. All right. Your thoughts on the trade that finally happened yesterday?
But matter of time, right? We were waiting for months, man. I remember being on Good Morning Football a couple of weeks ago, and the hosts were complaining because there was like the 7th week in a row that we were starting the show with some combination of Aaron Rodgers or Lamar Jackson, because those are the 2 deals, or the 2 non-deals at that point, that we've essentially been waiting. Like, we figure something's going to happen with Aaron Rodgers and the Jets, but we don't know when. And so draft week always seemed like the deadline of when it would happen, and deadlines always spur action. I do wonder if the Jets overpaid a little bit, but at the end of the day, if they win with Aaron Rodgers, nobody cares what you pay. If you fail with them, you're going to get blamed for making the move regardless of what you paid. And so I do think, I thought they would have given up a little less, but overall, glad the deal's finally done so we can stop talking about it. And it makes that AFC East the best division in football. And it makes a lot of prime time games, I expect. You got the Jets Miami, you got Jets Bills, you got Bills Miami. Anything not involving the Patriots, it's probably a prime time game. So it's going to be a fun year for sure.
By the way, those 3 teams, I think Robert Kraft sits around and this starts to put even more pressure on Bill Belichick, because I'm of the ilk that he's got 2 seasons left, Belichick. And if these next 2 seasons there are no playoffs, okay, I'm on record, he will be fired. They will part ways. There is no way that Kraft is going to keep him around and watch the rest of the division run off and leave the Patriots behind. And the bottom line is, if the next 2 years don't result in any playoffs or any kind of success, you now have to look at it and say, well, post Brady had success. Post Brady, Belichick has not.
Right.
So is it time to move on? So I really think that the Jet move really puts all 3 teams way ahead of the Patriots right now.
Absolutely.
So I wonder how the next 2 seasons are going to develop, because I think he comes back on a serious hot seat in 24.
Yeah, so to be honest, Bill Belichick should be, in my opinion, a guy who can leave like Pat Riley whenever he wants. But we all know the league is not built that way. This is a league that got, the Dolphins got rid of Shula, right, at some point, even though he had won. Jimmy Johnson with the Cowboys, same thing. He had won, and that happened in that capacity. We saw Philly get rid of Andy Reid. He had a bunch of success there. So there is a point, even though you've had so much long successes about what have you done for me now, I still won't believe that Belichick's going to miss the playoffs 3 straight years until I see it. But you are right. They are clearly, on paper, the worst team in this division. And it's wild because I was looking it up probably a month or 2 ago. The last time that they had finished last in the AFC East was 2000. And that was, I believe, Tom Brady's first year as a Patriot, also Bill Belichick's first year. And so it's been over 20 years since they've been last. And I don't really know who you pick under them. I mean, I guess if the Rodgers thing doesn't work out, the Jets could technically crater and it not work. but that defense is so good that I can't see them. I can't see them, even if Rodgers is like cooked, like he looked at parts of last year. I can't see them being the worst team in the division because of that defense. So they probably, like, sorry, Dolphins fan, they probably on paper have the best defense in the division. It's just the way it is at this point. You know, the Dolphins have a chance to surpass them, but right now,
Miami has the better secondary.
But I'm telling you, Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed, that is a monster duo. Now Javon Holland, they don't have a safety like Javon Holland.
There you go.
So
Checkmate.
That's a difference maker there.
That's why I said they've got the best secondary in the division.
Yeah. So
the front seven is what makes them special, a little bit more special because they've got better linebackers.
Yeah, they got the linebackers and they got a couple.
And we can argue that Quinnen Williams is better than Christian Wilkins.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We got to call it like we see it, unfortunately.
Yeah, they're both really good players, but Quinnen Williams probably gives you a little bit more in the pass rush perspective for sure.
Right, you got to give him the edge, bro. We got to call shit like we see it, bro. It's got to be called the right way. All right, so let's call shit the right way. And I think we talked about this on Thursday or Friday. Thursday, you're on Thursdays. The Tua double standard bullshit that I've pointed out many times now, and again it happened this week. And why? Okay, so when he gets the concussions, not everybody, but we got all these overreacting people. Oh, he's got to retire. Oh, he's a husband now. He's married. He's got a child. No, he's got to retire. That's irresponsible of him if he's not thinking and talking about So then we fast forward a couple months later, and so he's asked by Daniel Oyefusi from the Miami Herald, hey, did you guys talk about it? Oh, yeah, we talked about it with the family, yada, yada, yada. So now he's criticized for having the conversation of retirement. So he's either criticized for not talking about retirement or not wanting to retire, or he's criticized for talking about retirement, okay? This is a load of bullshit.
Yeah.
Okay? It's just a load of shit. And then here's what we pull in the media again, okay? Because this isn't about Tua. I'm just using the Tua thing as an example for you, okay? But here we go again. Media spin, okay? So all of a sudden now, Jalen Hurts has a press conference.
Yeah.
And they ask him about, hey, why didn't you get a fully guaranteed contract? So his response to it is, money is nice. Guarantees. Championships are better, right? So now everybody's spinning it that Lamar Jackson gets roasted after Jalen Hurts' latest comments.
That had nothing to do with Lamar. It's a weird.
Lamar.
Yeah, it had nothing to do with Lamar. I think everybody wants to make it a narrative, an indictment on everything else. When honestly, these dudes are focused on themselves. Hurts is worried about himself and the Eagles. He's not worried about taking a shot at Lamar Jackson when it's just outlandish to think that. And
by the way, out of all people, Jalen Hurts.
Right.
Like one of the nicest human beings you've seen so far. It's like running into Waddle. Like you look at Waddle, you could tell he just had like really good upbringing, because you could tell he's just a really good kid overall.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts. So now, and you know how it is, that people are uninformed. They don't really read the articles. They don't really pay attention. So now they're also going to say half-ass, oh yeah, Jalen Hurts taking a shot at Lamar. No, he's not. He didn't take a shot at anybody, bro.
Right. Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy. The narrative game. It happens all the time. Even I get it a bunch because I cover the whole league. And so I may tweet something about another player, and a lot of Dolphins fans follow me, and they're like, what about Tua? And they're like, not everything is involving Tua. Not everything's involving Lamar. Not everything is involved. Sometimes it's just
they don't realize that you're an NFL reporter.
Right.
Yeah, you cover the Dolphins also, but you are an NFL reporter. That means 32 teams.
Yep. Like this week, for example, I'm in Carolina and Charlotte covering the Panthers. I may not talk about the Dolphins at all this week, and that's okay. The Dolphins do not have a first-round pick this year. There's not a lot of buzz. If they made a wild trade, then maybe. But otherwise, they're probably one of the lower teams on the interest scale in regards to the draft because they just don't have a lot of capital. They made their moves this offseason. They went and got Jalen Ramsey. They went and made a trade for Bradley Chubb. Those are their draft picks. And so those are what we're going to talk about. They're going to add some players, but it's not going to move the needle. That's fine. Everything does not always depend on the people you're talking about. And so,
and by the way, I don't want to point out just that one outlet. I don't know if you guys caught the outlet that printed that story. Every outlet is twisting it that way.
Yeah.
All over the place. And that's not right, dude. That's not right to do it that way. Just like what I think the way they're doing with Tua, like all of a sudden now, Randy Mueller comes out, oh, well, I don't know how you could talk contract extension if he's contemplating retirement. And it really, if you think about it, do you really believe in your heart at all, Cam, that Tua at any point really contemplated retirement for even a millisecond? Of course.
And I got to go in a sec to grab my breakfast. I ordered inside. But my thought on Tua in the retirement, and I wish he was a little bit more clearer because he was open. He was open, but in the same perspective, you do wonder how much of it is him initiating it versus the people around him initiating it. Because there is a different perspective. Like if my mom, for example, I'll give you guys a short story. My mom is definitely afraid of water. She had an incident. She's a social worker. She had an incident when one of her clients drowned while she was, while we were growing up. And so she always gets afraid anytime I go on a boat or anywhere on the ocean. And so she will always tell me, like, hey, don't go on that boat. Don't go in the water. You're not going to go in the ocean, right? And I will have a conversation with her about it. And I will eventually still go into the ocean, right? So she's talking to me about this. That doesn't mean that I truly considered not going on the boat or coming into the ocean. That just means that I respect my mother, and I'm going to talk to her and tell her I'm going to be safe, and I'm not going to be, drunk and jumping off the boat and these sort of things. I'm going to be good to ease her mind. But I never, for 1 second, thought that I would never truly go there. And so I don't know Tua's fully perspective, but to me, that if that is the case, that's different than, hey, I personally am truly considering it. So that's the one thing that I would love clarity on. And
dude, 3 examples.
Yeah.
3 examples is all you need. All you need to do is look at his effing history.
Yeah.
Okay, I busted 2 of my ankles up. Let's wrap them up with titanium cables so it'll never happen again.
Right.
Okay, well, let's go. Who the hell does that shit? Okay, you busted up your hip. Oh, no, his career is over. No. I'll rehab. I'll be ready to work out for you in the combine. And then I'll be ready for Kevin Brockers to slam me from the Rams in week 3.
Brockers. Yeah. Yep.
Brockers, sorry. Yep. He can slam me in week 3. I'll be ready for that. Who the hell does that? And then you watch him in the Buffalo game where he's wobbly, and then he comes back to win the game in the second half. Who the hell does that shit?
Right.
This is not a guy that's wired to quit anything, dude. Anything.
Yeah.
If you haven't learned that from him, the problem is you see him that he's, 6'1" or something, and because he's not 6'5" and built like Cam Newton, you don't look at him as invincible. But that mother effer thinks he's invincible, and that's how he plays. Whether you like it or not, this guy is as tough as they come. And he doesn't quit, and he's not afraid of anything. And I don't know why people have not learned that about him. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Anyway,
with you.
All right, what are you doing this week in the NFL Network?
I am on every day from Charlotte, North Carolina, doing the NFL draft, and they have the number 1 pick, and so it will start here. And so I was on TV all day yesterday. I'll be on TV all day today and through Friday, and then I come home on Saturday. And so
with the number 1 pick in the NFL draft, the Carolina Panthers select
Alabama's Bryce Young.
There you go. Follow him on Twitter at Cameron Wolf and catch him calling the number 1 pick in the NFL Network right there. Cam, thank you, my brother. Enjoy North Carolina. Beautiful North Carolina.
Appreciate you.
Got it. There you go. Cameron Wolf, baby. That is your KSDT CPA, Miami Dolphins, and NFL report.
This has been the KSDT CPA Pro Football Report with NFL insider Cameron Wolf. KSDT is recognized by Forbes as one of the top tax accounting firms for 2022. KSDT CPA is a full-service firm that also excels in crypto. Visit them at ksdtcpa.com or call 305-670-3370.
So here we are. I wanted to show you the backyard again because we had some trouble last time, but you know, cuttersedgepro.com does some amazing stuff, and there are the boys and the girl. They're having fun. There we go. Right, Maiden? Right, Bono? There we go. They're having fun. I'm having fun. Look at our Sylvester palm. It is beautiful. We got another one in the front yard like that. You can take your home and landscaping to the next level. And the artificial turf, look at that. Look at that. The two dinosaurs going at it, huh? Look at that. I gotta love the dinosaurs. Look at them. They like to bite each other's legs. That's what they do. They play with each other and then they bite each other and they piss each other off. It's fun. One is Bono, which is the one farther away from you, and Maiden. She's the girl right here. She's a badass. That's for sure. So anyway, see the flowers are coming out. Very nice. cuttersedgepro.com, folks. This big tree there will start budding that I'm showing you there soon. It'll have all kinds of flowers. I'll post another video and I'll show it to you. This is a backyard where everybody gets to hang out. Over there in the corner there, I put the barbecue and cook. So that way it's the farthest away from the house, you know. If I light myself on fire or somebody else, we're out in the corner away from everybody. There you go. See, getting some flowers coming out, which is a beautiful thing. And I swear by this artificial turf, it always looks phenomenal. I don't have to cut it. I don't have to water it. And so I'm saving a lot of money, hundreds and thousands in the long run, because I'm not watering or, of course, cutting the grass. And you know, here in South Florida, we cut the grass like every 10 to 14 days.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
For over 16 years, EJDconstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDconstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
When you move, you need a reliable company led by passionate folks, eager to assist its customers during a transitional process that needs to be smooth. Call Essential Moving Experts at 844-368-5750 for all your local and long-distance moving needs. You can rely on Essential Moving Experts. Mention the Big O Show and get $150 off. Family owned and operated, they offer free 30-day storage, full-service moving, fully licensed, bonded, and insured. Moving was never so easy. EssentialMovingExperts.com. The viewpoint, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
All right. We're back. Hour number 2 of the program. Thank you all out there for hanging in there as always and supporting the hell out of the show. Always appreciate it. Let me see what we got here.
Big O, I'm a Dolphins fan, but I honestly don't think A-Rod is washed up. He's 39. I got Jets finishing second in division. Yes, Bills will take a step back. We'll see. We'll see. I still like the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins have the better corners when it's all said and done. So I think it'll make it a lot harder on them. I like their receivers, but I don't think the Jets have great receivers. The Dolphins have great receivers and great corners. So I just think it's, listen, last year, I know I get it, but they were dominating Green Bay. If they would have, if the kid stays in the game, it's over. So to me, if Tua can play smart and take care of his body, everything will work out. So we'll see. He's had lots of teams in Green Bay and teams with good defenses too in the past and all that. So JB's performance earned a Funko Pop in your screenshot for today. Come on, Big O. Do they have Funko? Do I have a Jimmy Butler Funko Pop? I should get a Jimmy Butler Funko Pop. Let's see. Oh, wait a minute. You may want to. Oh, you have one. Would you take the damn thing off? Hold on a second. There we go. There it is. Look at that. He's got a Jimmy Butler Funko Pop. How about that? Ha! The show has a Jimmy Butler Funko Pop. How do you like them apples? I got to get one. Thank you all out there already for sending in the super chat. Remember, you can also send a donation through Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show on Cash App or Venmo. And Bitcoin still holding strong at 27,300. So is Jasmine holding strong at 59. What else do we have here? Rodgers had a top 5 O-line run team and top 10 defense last year and still only had 25 TDs. Yeah, we'll see. Listen, man, everything will be settled on the field. Talking about it now, what you think Rodgers is or isn't, or what you think the Jets are, or the Bills or whatever, we'll find out when the season rolls around. Right now, it's just a bunch of hot air. Kind of like the stuff that you guys send me on DM all the time, right? Kind of like all those fake reports about the Dolphins trying to trade for Derrick Henry, right? Did you guys see that one, by the way? Do I have it here? Where do I have that story here? I don't think, do I have it? No, I don't think I have it here, but I do have it saved here. So, you know how, because some of you, I don't know, again, I don't really care what it is, but some of you send me this stuff and I don't really pay attention. I just see the headline and then I know, it's ridiculous. But the Titans were addressing the media, and Rand Carthon, who is the GM for the Titans, former Ram player, by the way, back in the day. So they asked him about Derrick Henry, who is due $10.5 million base salary and will count $16.3 million against the cap. And guess what he told everybody? They have had no calls whatsoever for Derrick Henry. 0 calls in the league for Derrick Henry. So I thought you guys were sending me these stories that, this YouTuber is reporting this, or this bogus Twitter site is oh no, and then a bunch of you are like, let's propose this trade, and then you're wasting your time with mental masturbation. Oh, we'll trade this pick and this player for Derrick Henry, and nobody is calling for Derrick Henry. Not one goddamn person is calling for Derrick Henry. But some of you have got the Dolphins actually trying to trade for him. Even though Chris Greer never trades for him,
because Chris Greer never trades high picks ever, doesn't give big money to running backs, but you've got him doing it. Right? That's how it goes. It's kind of like the Tua thing. Oh, no, well, Tua, Tua was thinking about quitting? Really? You ever heard anybody wrap titanium rods around their ankles? Yeah, because no, that's a guy that really wants to quit. No, everybody twists up their ankle. They put a boot on it. They put a cast. They get some treatment. They get a shot, whatever, and then they get back on the field. That crazy son of a bitch says, I'm going to tie a titanium rod to it because I'm going to make it even stronger than it was before. I'm going to be the $6 million quarterback. Better, stronger, faster. No, of course, because, that guy's a quitter. Like, everybody forgets about his hip, the quitters. They forget about his hip injury. Think about that. No matter what they've told you about the concussion, think about this. Are you ready for me? No matter what they've told you about the concussion, it's not number 15 or whatever. You had 1 or 2 this season. Okay. Would you rather have the 1 or 2 concussions, or would you rather blow out your hip and worry about that it may never come together again? The what's that called? The blood flow and all that stuff. Remember what happened to Bo Jackson? Oh, well, some of you. I keep thinking that everybody is older and has more perspective and has kind of lived through a lot of this shit. But Bo Jackson was like one of the greatest athletes that the Lord ever made is Bo Jackson. And that guy suffered a hip injury and he was done. And yet that guy comes back from a hip injury in 9 months. Oh, man. Yeah, no, he's a quitter. Yeah, he's thinking about quitting. Oh, he contemplated quitting. No, he didn't, bro. He had a bunch of women around him. Anybody married? Anybody have a mom? Anybody have a girlfriend? Anybody have a grandmother? It was beautiful what Cam did right there. His mom had a tragedy in her life with somebody that drowned. And ever since then, she gets on Cam's ass if he's going to go anywhere near the water. And what do you think happens if you're a fireman and you came out of a burning building and you're just filled with black smoke, right, all over you, and you get home and your mother-in-law sees it and your wife sees it and you were fighting a fire and you're, honey, have you ever thought of maybe another career? You just got out in a shootout with some hostage taker and you're a cop and you get home. You think mom, you think your wife, your daughter, your grandma, you think they may not mention quitting almost every other day when you're a cop or you're a fireman or you're in the army or you're in whatever? Do you think that somebody that loves you tells you, hey, do you really want to do that? Or do they tell you every day that it rains, hey, cover yourself, you're going to get a cold. Oh, you don't want to go out there, it's raining. But I got to go. It's a conversation. Happens all the time. The people that love you are concerned. But do you think that guy was thinking of quitting? Then you don't know what you're covering. Any writer that thinks that Tua was contemplating retirement for 1 millisecond, that writer has terrible instincts. And I'll tell them to their face. Okay? Anybody that wrote that actually believes that Tua for 1 millisecond thought about retiring, you are going to not be a good reporter because your instincts are not good. It's pretty simple. Anyway, Dan B says, Big O, what happened was that there was a discussion around the dining room table after dinner. Remember those days? That don't happen anymore. Then he said, no, I'm going back on the field. Exactly. That's all. Same bullshit every one of us have had to deal with since we were kids. The people that love you, whatever. It's just one of those things. You hurt yourself playing some kind of a sport, they may not want you to go back to play that sport again. They'll tell you, do you really have to do that? No, but I love to do it. But you got hurt. Yeah, but I love to do it. Yeah, but I got hurt. It don't matter. I'm going to do it. You don't get back on the bike. Look at your knee. It's all scraped up. Get back on the bike. You're going to do that motocross stuff and you fell. Yeah, I'm doing it. I got that every day from my mom. Come back from skateboarding, and here I am with my walker board and my Gull Wing trucks and my red line wheels, and I'm back at home after, skateboarding in the pool and falling, and sometimes you can afford the elbow and the knee pads. Sometimes you can't afford them. So then guess what the elbows and the knees end up like? All scraped up and screwed up and all that and bruised. And guess what mom says? I don't want you skateboarding anymore. And what the hell are you doing the next day? I'm skateboarding. Oh, I don't want you jumping in your Ashtabula anymore. Well, guess what I'm doing? I'm going to the next construction site to go find a board and bricks and everything and build ramps and jump. Sorry, Mom. It's the silliest thing in the world. And that's why I brought up the Jalen Hurts thing now. Go look at all the articles. Oh, Jalen Hurts shot at Lamar Jackson. No, it wasn't. You asked him about a guaranteed fully contract. You say, man, money's nice, but championships are better. That's all he said. He never mentioned Lamar Jackson. He doesn't know anything about Lamar Jackson. Well, maybe he knows something about it, but he doesn't care about that. And if you know anything about that Jalen Hurts kid, my God, again, instincts. Did you watch him how he carried himself in Alabama and Oklahoma? Impeccable. Have you watched him in the NFL? Impeccable. This is not a kid that's going to be trashing other players. That's not his style, and don't paint him that way, because now you're going to have idiots at the water cooler going, did you see Jalen Hurts take a shot at Lamar Jackson? No, he didn't. It's the media spinning it and putting headlines on it and doing things that they shouldn't be doing, because that's what we do. We criticize Tua for not contemplating retirement when he gets concussed, but then when his family brings it up, oh, no, wait a minute. He's thinking of retirement? Oh, wait a minute. How do you commit to a guy like that? Well, that's because Randy Mueller, maybe that's why he's still not a GM anymore, because his instincts fucking suck. Because if Randy Mueller actually thinks that Tua for 1 millisecond thought about really retiring, he's a freaking dumbass. Anyways. What do we have here? Aikman and young players concussed all the time. Yeah, bro. Whatever. You rest it, you give it time to heal, and then you move on. That's it. Big O, it's so nice to see more class in the game like it was back in the day. You have your classy people and you have your guys that don't have any class, and that's nothing's really changed that much. You're going to have guys that carry themselves the right way, like Jalen Hurts, Tua Tagovailoa. And then you'll have guys that won't carry themselves the right way, like the MILF Buster in New York and Johnny Manziel. You know what I mean? And Deshaun Watson. So you're going to have people that are going to carry themselves the right way, and you're going to have people that don't carry themselves the right way. That's always going to be the case. I still bring in a young QB from the draft or unsigned. I doubt that, because they don't have a lot of picks. And the Mike White signing was very telling that they want a battle between him and Braylon. Not Braylon, right? Not Braylon. Why am I brain farting? Because Braylon Sanders is a receiver.
Skyler.
Huh?
Skyler Thompson.
I don't have my headphones on. I apologize. Say that again.
Skyler Thompson.
Skyler Thompson. That's it. So they want a competition between Skyler and Mike White. So that's the key. I don't think they're going to bring in another guy. That's my guess. Maybe a Hendon Hooker falls to 51, and then okay, we'll take him. That kind of shit. I doubt he'll fall that far, but you never know. Crazier shit has happened. I'm going to be a huge Jalen Hurts fan this year, especially when he plays the Bills, Jets, and Patriots. We all are. I mean, he's a kid you pull for anyways, right? How do you – it's impossible to dislike Jalen Hurts. Impossible. It's easy to dislike Deshaun Watson, but it's impossible to dislike Jalen Hurts or Tua Tagovailoa. There are just certain people that they do things the right way, and they're just class, from top to bottom. And those are the kind of people you want them to have success, But I'm with you. I'll be a big fan of Jalen Hurts when he's playing against the AFC East that isn't the Miami Dolphins, of course. That week, well, I want a lot of pain coming to Jalen Hurts. All right. And I want Jalen Phillips to deliver that pain. That's what I want. Anyway, can I give you something that I think most people will never think about from last night? Okay. It was good news that they won. It was good news that they took a 3-1 lead. It's great news that they now have 3 opportunities to get 1 win and knock off the number 1 seed as the 8th seed in the NBA and create one hell of an upset, right? I mean, that is phenomenal. But here's the thing that nobody's thinking about that happened last night for the Miami Heat. Yeah, it's good news to win. It's good news to have the lead. But what's also good news? That we're coming down to the end of the season. Whether it happens in this series, I hope not, because I don't want to see them lose 3 straight. That would be kind of crazy. Or the next series that they lose. Okay? But this, brace yourselves because you're not going to like this. Some of you are going to like some of this, and then some of you are going to hate the other side of this. Are you ready? Prepare yourself. Are you driving? I need you to sit down. I need you to relax. I need you to have your seatbelt on. You know what? If you're driving, I need you to pull over. That's even better. I want you to pull over. I'm going to give you a couple seconds here to pull over, okay? Because what I tell you, you may crash the car. You may get all pissed off at me. You may swing at your phone. You may laugh at your phone. You may say, wow, I never thought of that. That is actually a good thing. So you know what happened last night? Stock prices go up and down. The crypto market goes up and down, right? That's how it is. Home values go up and down. Gold, silver, all kinds of investments, they rise and they go down. Well, guess what? The Duncan Robinson value might just be going up a little bit here. You've been wanting to get rid of Duncan Robinson. I want to get rid of Duncan Robinson. Well, guess what? You lost all your trade value in Duncan Robinson over the last year and a half. Well, guess what's been happening in this first round of the playoffs? Duncan Robinson's career has been revived. Maybe somebody gets suckered enough to give you something in the offseason for Duncan Robinson. But wait, there's more. And I know some of you might be mentioning, well, I want to get rid of Bam. Yeah, well, that's not going to happen right now. Okay? That's now you're back into the Duncan Robinson situation prior to this. Because nobody was going to give you anything for Duncan Robinson because they weren't seeing anything from Duncan Robinson. But now he's hit a couple of shots. Maybe you'll fool a sucker or two out there that thinks they need him and they can trade for him. Bam, I know some of you have been talking about it, sending me DMs and all that. Oh, we should trade Bam and Lowry, 2 contracts that nobody wants, along with Duncan. But maybe now you might have built something else up. Now here's where I'm going to piss you off. I told you 2 years ago, X had all the issues with the injuries and the asking for money every offseason, and he also had the domestic issues in court and all that. And I told you after the 10 interceptions, what did I tell you to do? Trade his ass. Because you could get the world for him at that moment, right? Now he had an injury-riddled season. Now we're all hoping he can come back healthy. He's going to be motivated. I hope he can. But if he can and he has more injuries like he's had in the past, you're going to go, wow, that window closed 2 years ago, 3 years ago after next year. And you're going to say, we could have gotten rid of him. And we had the opportunity right after the 10 interceptions, and we didn't do it. We failed. Jimmy Butler. I know it pains you, but you are not anywhere near a title with Jimmy Butler. You have ruined 4 years of Jimmy Butler in the front office. I love Pat Riley to death. I will never, ever, ever, ever fail on Pat Riley. I got his back all the time. I'm never going to tell you to fire Pat Riley. I want him to fix this situation, but it's going to take him a couple years to fix it. But he has screwed up. You're stuck with Lowry one more year. You don't know when you're going to be able to move him because it's an expiring deal next year, hopefully by next year's trading deadline. But you're not a championship contender. Now, the way Jimmy Butler has played, somebody may think they're one Jimmy Butler away from a title. And you might be able to unload the next 3 years of $60 million. He could not play a quarter of the season this year. That's the reason why you're a number 8 seed. If he can't play 75 games a year, and this is a team that doesn't have any stars, how are you going to climb in the standings? You're not. So, Jimmy Butler's value is also at an all-time high with an all-time performance. You must compartmentalize your emotions right now. While we all love what we've seen from Jimmy Butler, we all have to be honest. As much as I love Pat Riley, he has failed miserably in losing out on Butler's 4 years here. One of them is out of his control because in the bubble, they got lucky. Everything went their way. And the Bam and Goran injuries, I can't blame Riley for that. But all the other years, Butler has shined, and he just doesn't have enough help. And the performance that he is putting together now might also convince somebody in the offseason that they are one Jimmy Butler away and that they're willing to take the chance, because not a lot of teams will be willing to trade for Jimmy Butler because not a lot of teams can handle his character. So you're going to need the right coach, the right atmosphere. But if you are one Jimmy Butler star away from a title, then you make the move. Because Miami needs a lot more than just another star. You know, the supporting cast just isn't good enough. You know, they're having a nice little run here, mainly because of Butler. The supporting cast did all right. They did some things. You know, Caleb might be the one guy out of the young guys, but Bam is almost untradeable now because he's got like a max deal and he's really not a star. We're all really finding out that Bam Adebayo is really on a contending team. All right? When we look at the Shaq and Wade teams, he's 3 or 4 on those teams. When we go look at Zoe and Timmy and all those guys, he's a 3 or a 4 on those teams. When we look at the big 3, he's like a 5 on those teams. He's a 2 here by default because there's nobody else. Tyler Hero is unreliable, cannot stay healthy. Bam Adebayo is not a star. These pieces and Lowry are really hard to trade nowadays because you paid Bam and Tyler max money like they're stars and they're not. And Kyle Lowry is a washed-up all-star. So you've got a bunch of untradeable pieces that aren't sexy to anybody. But believe it or not, maybe Duncan Robinson developed a little bit of sexiness, so you can get rid of him. And Jimmy Butler's got a lot of sexiness left. So you say to yourself as a Heat fan, the next 3 years, do we just settle for Jimmy Butler and what we've had in the status quo? Or do you get rid of him now and try in the offseason to rebuild, reset the team, get as many picks back, get as many lottery picks back as you can, whatever you can do? Because you have that opportunity now, maybe. That's the one thing that happened last night, or has happened the last couple of nights of this series. The Jimmy Butler effect might be intoxicating enough for somebody this offseason to give you a nice load for him because they feel they're a Jimmy Butler away from a title. I told you I'd piss you off. Told you it would hurt. Manny Navarro and our Canes Wear Miami Hurricanes report is next.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
The viewpoint, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. Time for Canes fans to get what they want. Information, insight, and perspective. It's the Canes Wear Miami Hurricanes Report with Manny Navarro, exclusively on the Big O Radio Show. Here's Big O and insider Manny Navarro.
All right. And by the way, for because I know I'll forget because there's a whole bunch of people in the text just keep rolling. Eddie De La Torre, just so you know, my man, you need a hearing aid. I never said earlier this year that Bam was a superstar. What I said was earlier this year, he said he wanted to take the 18 shots and that he started the season aggressive, that he wanted to be a star. Well, there he was working his way to trying to be that guy. And obviously, it never got there. I never said he was a star. I've never said that. I've called him a super role player for 2 years. Have I not? There's 329 people right now on the chat board. Have I not called Bam Adebayo a super role player for 2 years? Yes or no? Please answer to Mr. De La Torre. Those of you that actually pay attention to the show. By the way, have you heard me call him a super role player, Manny?
No, I think we've always kind of just referred to him at his best, an all-star, but not a superstar, right? I mean, I think that's probably the best way to think of Bam, kind of a Draymond Green.
I've called him a super role player. That's what I've called him. Yeah, that's to me is what he is. He's really not a star. Think about it. The Zoe Timmy teams is where is he in the pecking order? 3 or 4 behind maybe Marley or I don't know, Eddie Jones, or I don't know. He's not in front of Zoe and Timmy. And then if I go Shaq and Shaq and Wade, okay, maybe he's 3 there. I don't know, something like that. Okay, then I go the big 3 and Ray Allen. He's like 5 on that team.
Right.
You know what I mean? That like on a real championship caliber type team, he's not really your top 3 options because
he can't score.
Right, he can't impose his – it's not so much he can't score. He can't impose his offensive will on you.
Right.
And to me, today's game, brother, you got to be able to score when you need to score, and you have to score. That's what Jimmy did last night, bro. Nobody could stop him. Nobody could defend him. Just like Giannis. You know, if he's going at it and he's got it going, you can't stop him, bro.
Right.
That's what they are. You know what I'm saying?
Unstoppable
All right,
force.
let's get to the really important shit right now. God damn it, Montana Lemonious Craig, is he coming here?
I don't know. Oh, I know he's no longer.
19 offers after 3 receptions, 154 yards, 2 touchdowns in the Colorado spring game. And then he told Dion, yo, I'm out of here, which doesn't make any. I get the guys that aren't playing, but the guys that actually star are also transferring. That one's kind of weird. So I need to know if Lemonious is going to be a name I'm going to be calling for the Canes this year. What's up? Where's Louise?
I would love to know just as much as you. I think he had a pretty decent performance, but I don't know who he was doing it up against because Colorado was 1-11 last year. So to me, this whole Dion thing is really, really interesting because he said he was going to basically flip the roster, and he went through an entire spring and then decided the day of the spring game, I guess, right after the game was over, yo, you, and you are all gone. And he's basically pulled the scholarships for a bunch of these guys and forced them into the transfer portal. I don't know how much of this is guys that he wanted to actually stick around and be a part of the program. He has bigger plans. He has those scholarships he wants to put to use. And yes, that kid had, I think it was 154 yards receiving, as you mentioned. But I don't know how good he really is because Colorado was pretty trash last season. And I don't know if you watched some of the clips. There were times in that scrimmage, by the way, that spring game, that there was nobody covering receivers. Like they lined up in one instance where literally there was no cornerback. I think it was on Travis Hunter's touchdown in that spring game. So anyway, man, Colorado's a mess. I think you will hear Xavier Henderson, the former Florida Gators receiver who entered the portal after their spring game. I think that's a guy you could see at Miami. Mario's looking for help at the receiver position, cornerback, D tackle. But to me, I think you probably have a better chance of hearing Xavier Henderson, a Miami Columbus grad, than you do this Lemonious kid.
So far, Oregon State, Penn State, UCF, Cincinnati, Auburn, BYU, Mississippi State, and many more part of the 19 schools that have offered. So some decent schools there already.
Yeah.
I
think it's more of it.
But you have no information if Miami is one of the 19 is all I'm at. Because I just brought it up because I know they need receivers. And, dude, you're 1,000% right because I would be a phony by getting excited about a spring game when I don't get excited about recruiting. I don't get excited about spring games. I get excited once I actually see them on the field for real against real opponents and performing. That's when I start to get excited. And then I believe in a player. I don't believe in me. I don't get hyped up with the recruiting or any of this shit. But I do realize that they don't have receivers. And then I read the teams that were offering him deals. I got to figure they know something. Penn State's not just some schmuck university. Cincinnati's actually had some, success. Mississippi State, BYU's no schmuck. So I'm thinking this guy must have some skill set.
I'm sure somebody's looking for a third or fourth receiver they could bring in the roster. I'm not saying they're not. I just
number one.
Yeah, I think Miami needs a number one. Correct. Yes. I don't know that he's a number one. I don't think a receiver on a 1-11 team in the Pac-12, because he has, a couple big plays in a meaningless spring game, is going to all of a sudden prompt Miami to say, this is the dude we got to bring in to be the number one. But we'll see. I mean, they do their homework. They study guys. That's their job, right? So I think Xavier Henderson is a better bet. That's the kid from Miami Columbus who played for the Gators, and has more of a track record in the SEC than this
does
kid.
Sound like Dion's brokenhearted that Lemonious is leaving either, right? So.
No, I mean he's like I said, it's a roster purge. I mean Mario kind of went about his business slowly. He didn't kick everybody off the team. He let guys kind of prove themselves. All Dion needed was one spring to basically wipe out the roster completely and say, these guys aren't good enough. The funny thing will be how many guys he can actually bring in to replace them, because when you dump that much depth, you put yourself in a precarious position if you're unable to get some quality guys to come in and replace them. So that'll be interesting to watch. But that was Dion's approach, basically come in and take out the garbage as quickly as possible.
Definitely doing that. All right, what else do we know? By the way, on the Ruiz front, are there any alterings or developments on the NIL side because of some of the financial issues? I know he's kind of downplayed it all and said that, business will be as usual, but you do have to be concerned because I think his company's even going to be delisted at the stock exchange and all that stuff. So you're kind of wondering what's going on with Ruiz and the NILs and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, look, obviously Miami hasn't signed anybody in the transfer portal yet in football or basketball, right? So everybody's just kind of like, why is this so slow? I just think it's more a matter of finding the right fits, finding the right players that you really want to get in here. I think Miami has slowed it down from that perspective. Is they're being a little choosier about who they bring in for both the men and women's basketball programs. They got a few women's transfers to sign up and come, but I think on the men's side, they're kind of waiting on a few kids. And so, look, as far from an NIL perspective, I said this with you last week. I think people need to realize Ruiz is not the only option here. He's not the only guy pouring money into the school. The Canes connection is a different collective, and Ruiz does have a role in that in some way. But there are other people pouring money into the program. So I think this is more about being choosy with what you buy than just going out there and rushing to bring in a bunch of people that may or may not fit your program. And that's why it's slow. But I think from Ruiz's perspective, everybody that I've talked to who works for him, everybody who is part of his NIL regime, I have yet to come across anybody say I haven't gotten paid. So whether that changes in the months ahead as he deals with some financial troubles, we'll see. But I think for right now, everything is status quo.
Okay. All right. Good stuff. Any other things am I overlooking Canes wise that we could mention?
No.
It's kind of slow, so I don't know if there's anything I have overlooked that we should mention to Canes fans out there.
No, just I mentioned Xavier Henderson, the former Florida receiver, kid out of Miami Columbus. There's other kids that they're in on. Jaden Davis, who's a former St. Thomas Aquinas grad who played at Oklahoma. He's the cornerback that they're looking at. Jaquay Jackson, a D2 wide receiver, is another name to know as far as potential, targets here in the transfer portal. And then Tywone Malone, a 6'4", 315-pound defensive tackle who played for Ole Miss the past couple seasons. Didn't get a lot of playing time, but he's a big-bodied kid, and I think for sure Miami is definitely looking and sniffing around. He's a kid who's going to finish school this semester and then decide where he's going to school. But, he's another name to know. There's going to be more names that pop up here as the process continues. I would just say this. I would say be patient and trust in the coaching staffs at Miami that they're going to get some good players. They did it last year. Mario did a good job bringing in some transfers. They did their homework. They got the right kind of kids to fit the system. There weren't too many, head-scratching additions in terms of transfer portal guys. And I would say the same thing for the basketball team. Jim Larenega's got a great track record doing that. So be patient.
All right. I like it. All right. What else are you working on the Athletic so folks can check you out, my friends?
Yeah, I just did a feature on Trevor Jackson, who is an Elite 11 finalist, one of the top quarterbacks in the state. He's a kid who didn't get a whole lot of love because he was only a starter for 1 year for his high school program in Winter Garden, West Orange, the Orlando area. And he's 6'3", 195 pounds. And he went to this Elite 11 camp earlier this month, tore it up, got an invite to go to the finals. And now Texas A&M, Penn State, Ohio State, a bunch of schools are looking at him. And I know Miami took this quarterback from Georgia, Judd Anderson, who I know you're a fan of his name especially, and his height, 6'7", 220. But this is the kind of kid that I think is kind of one of those quick risers because people are starting to see what an athlete he is, what kind of arm he has, and that kind of stuff. And so anyway, it's a feature on him and just the quarterbacks in general that come out of this state. There's a lot of them in this particular cycle. One that's committed to Iowa, another one to NC State. So the state of Florida this year, high school wise, has some good players that are coming out.
For the record, I'm really more into Jugs than Judd, but that's all right. It's all good. Follow on Twitter at Manny_Navarro, and of course, subscribe to The Athletic because they've got all the Jugs there.
We do.
Manny, we will catch up on Friday, my friend. Appreciate you.
All right, brother. Take care, man.
You got it. Don't forget, man, go to caneswear.com. If you don't live in the area and you can't go to 2511 South University Drive in Davie, You can go online at caneswear.com. You order over $99, you will get free shipping because Jeff and company will pack it in quickly and send it out, baby. Check it out. They may have a jug with a U on it. They've got almost anything and everything practically with a U logo on it. They've got Inter Miami gear, Marlins gear, Panthers gear, Dolphins gear, Miami Heat gear. So check it out at caneswear.com.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
All right. Don't forget, baby, Welton Rayom, a proud sponsor of our program. We love the great people at Welt and Rayom. Listen, a lot of you, especially in Fort Lauderdale right now, are dealing with all kinds of water damage, and you're dealing with a bunch of idiot insurance companies. And they're probably driving you crazy. And you know why? They know the laws. You don't. They like to take advantage of you. And they know they can take advantage of you. But if you have a lawyer instead, and you have the proper law office like Welton Rayom, who has represented several of our listeners now and myself, I saw it firsthand how they crushed, all right, Progressive Insurance, who was trying to take advantage of us. And these adjusters and these insurance companies, they're not looking out for you. They're looking out for themselves, folks. Please call Welton Rayom. They have their own adjusters. They will send them to your home, your office, your building, your condo complex to make sure what kind of damage is done and to get it repaired the right way. 954-966-4646, anywhere in South Florida, even in the Keys. All right? Anywhere in Florida you can call. You can do all of this by the phone anyways. Maybe the only time you show up is to pick up a check. 954-966-4646, bankruptcy, homeowner property damage, condo damage, criminal defense, business owner claims, commercial litigation, personal injury. Call 954-966-4646 and tell them that Big O sent you. Call Jeff or Dan, and they will take care of you at Welt and Rayom. Ricky is asking, Big O, Miami Heat are going to beat the Milwaukee Bucks. Jimmy Butler's 56-point game. It was like Dwayne Wade's performance. Yep. It was definitely legendary. You are correct, sir. A legendary performance. All right. Bam Adebayo. I mean, I don't know what more is there to be said about Bam Adebayo. He is a great young man. We all know that he's a super decent human being. And so is Alexander Barkov. And the sad part is, you know, we used to have a football team here called the Miami. Well, I mean, we have a football team here called the Miami Dolphins. We used to have a defensive unit back in the early 80s called the Killer Bees. And Bam and Barkov could never, ever be a part of the Killer Bees. And do you know why they can't be a part of the Killer Bees? Because they don't possess the killer. Watch Jimmy Butler. That's a bee that brings the killer. Did you watch him last night? That's a killer. Did you watch Dwayne Wade against the Dallas Mavericks? That's a killer. That's what killers do. They feed off of these kind of moments. They want to be great. They want the spotlight. They're like Jack Nicholson in a few good men. They want to be on that wall. You need them on that wall. And that's what stars do. Stars want to be at the foul line. Stars want to take the three-point shot. Right? What's Gene Hackman say in The Replacements when he asks Shane Falco, what do you want, Shane? I want the ball. What does he answer? Winners always want the ball. because that's what they are. That's how they see themselves. Bam Adebayo does not view himself as a winner. He views himself as a blue-collar, hard-working man. I'm going to hustle. I'm going to out-hustle you. And Dwayne Wade says, I'm going to cut your heart out. Magic Johnson says, I'm going to cut your heart out. Walter Payton was maybe the most decent human being you will ever run into in your life. Soft-spoken, super polite, always a gentleman. Did you watch him on the football field? Did you ever watch him on the football field? He was going to run you over. He was going to run through you. He was going to put his helmet in the middle of your chest like a ram, like a battering ram, and he might lift your ass up at the same time in the process. You might have a buried chest when Walter Payton is done, because there's a difference. You have to be able to separate the two. You can be a great person, but the second you get on the field, this Shohei Ohtani guy, this guy looks like a pretty cool dude, right? I don't hear anything bad about him, right? He carries himself very professionally. Well, he got his teammate came to the mound and he embarrassed his teammate, who happens to be one of the great players in the game. Do you know why? Because Shohei Ohtani is either going to hit the game-winning home run or throw the game-winning strikeout. Because the dude's got dog in him. Looks like a nice guy, but man, he's got that streak in him because he's a badass mofo. He's got the weight of the world on him. I mean, he's doing something that's never been done in baseball ever. Ever. Babe Ruth did it for, a couple of years, like 2 years or something like that. Not much more. He didn't pitch very long, right? This guy's doing both at the highest level. Also looks like a really nice guy. There's nothing wrong with being a really nice guy, but then when you need to be a son of a bitch, can you be a son of a bitch? And that's the problem with Bam Adebayo. Bam Adebayo does not have the SOB in him. The Miami Heat failed in giving him a max contract or near max, whatever. He's not worth it. He's exactly what I've called him for a couple of years now. He's a super role player. He talked about his 18 shots and wanted to take the next step, and he started off aggressive. I'll give him credit. I mentioned it and everything. I'm going to give you credit if you deserve it. But sure enough, by the All-Star break, he was out of gas, and he couldn't do it, and he couldn't bring it every night. And that's what son of a bitches do every night. They bring it every night. Michael Jordan, it doesn't matter, every night. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, doesn't matter. LeBron James, you name it. These guys, they bring it every night because every night they demand to be the best. Every night they want to be the best. Every night they want to win the game for their team. They want to carry their team. They want the burden. That's what great players want. They're not afraid of getting the finger pointed at them because they lost the game, because they know that the one game they lost, they will win 15 other ones for every one that they lose. Because nobody's perfect. You're going to lose some. But the great ones, they rarely lose. They don't think of it that way. And that's the problem with Bam Adebayo. Bam Adebayo is not wired to be great. He's wired to be a role player. He's wired to be blue collar. He's wired to give you great effort every night, but he's not wired to be your anchor. And the Heat have forced a square peg in a round hole. Okay? For several years, the Florida Panthers were led by two guys like Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan. Really good players, not superstars. not number ones, not even number twos. And everybody found that out. And then they broke them up. And then they brought Kawhi Leonard in. That's a real number one. Kyle Lowry, you know, it's funny because you're Jimmy Butler and you bring your friend over, and your friend, even at his peak, was never good enough to be your Robin. Because he was never good enough to be a 1 or 2, because he and DeMar DeRozan continually failed in Toronto. So they can perform when there's no pressure, but they couldn't perform with all the pressure because that's not who they are. And Barkov and Huberdeau, same thing. They were Lowry and DeRozan in hockey. Guys that really good players. They can put up points. So can DeRozan and Lowry. But none of them were number ones. None of them were franchise players. We're now learning that. There's a lot of those guys that, you know, in life, they're really good in regular season moments, but they're not really the stars that are going to carry you. And Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan have never been that. Sure, DeMar DeRozan's had a couple of nice years here in Chicago. No pressure, dude. There's nobody there. There's no expectations for the Chicago Bulls. You're not winning anything. So he's going to get all the shots he wants, and he's had a nice little 2-year stretch. But is DeMar DeRozan the answer? Never was. Neither was Kyle Lowry. But you forced a square peg in the round hole with Bam Adebayo. You forced it also with Tyler Hero. You know, Tyler Hero's peak was in the bubble. That's it. The scowl in the bubble. That was his pinnacle, because that's all he was ever going to be. He wasn't really going to take the next step to be the star that can carry you. Nah, he's a good player. He can score points, all that, but he's not the guy. And that's the difference. And that's why Bam is where he's at right now. That's the most frustrating part about watching that game, is that you know he's the only stud on the court. He's the only SOB on the court. What a shame. And Bam will never be that, unfortunately. Let's see. Big O, what's your super cool bow with all these video streamings? You can have them as a new form, as a home video. Can remember the memories from your favorite days. I don't understand what you're asking me, Anthony. I'm sorry. Edward Thurston, how Big O, the Heat players must have listened to your show yesterday because they showed up and kicked some butt last night, especially Jimmy. Well, Jimmy always kicks butt. It's not Jimmy the issue. Did he pitch? He didn't pitch with the Yankees. He only pitched with the Red Sox. I don't think you're right, Rosendo. Did he 6 years? I'm going to look it up. I don't think it was that long. Let me look it up, man. Let me look it up. Okay. I will look it up here and see if that is the truth. I don't remember him pitching with the Yankees, because I remember going to a couple of those games. Is it? Postseason. Here we go. Pitching. Much. He pitched only 17 games the last year with Boston. It was really the first 3 years where he pitched 32, 44, and 41. Yes, sir. What were you going to say, Sean?
No, I'd found the stats as you were starting, and you kind of froze for a minute, and I didn't know if you jumped back in.
Yeah. So he didn't pitch for the Yankees, bro. 3 games don't mean shit. That's nothing. He pitched 13 innings in 2 years for the Yankees. Yeah, it's kind of like relief or something. Well, actually, one of them was a game because it's 2 games in 9 innings. So no, actually. So he was like a relief pitcher. I guess he came in like Canseco style, except, he didn't blow out his arm.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm looking at some stats here. And in the Yankees, he pitched 1 game in 1920, an ERA of 4.5.
Yeah.
In 21, he did 2 games, an ERA of 9.
Yeah. He didn't
ERA.
pitch for the Yankees for Sendo. That's bogus. That's not. But he did pitch more than a couple years. He did pitch 6 years for the Red Sox. Now, his final 2 years, they were kind of winding down his pitching because he only pitched 20 and 17 games in those two years. Okay. So really, he pitched 3 solid years in 15, 16, and 17, where he pitched 28, 40, and 38 games. Outside of that, it was 3, 19, 15, 1-1. So it wasn't really, he was really a pitcher for 3 seasons. Really. You know what I'm saying? So, in other words, he's no Ohtani. Put it that way. I'll put Ohtani ahead of Fat Boy here 1,000 times over. Let's see. Yeah, no, Brett, I saw it. I'm here. I'm looking at the stats. The Yankee thing doesn't even count, bro. Bam doesn't intimidate anyone in this league. Players actually look forward to playing against Bam because they know he's soft and isn't going to do much. Look at Brook Lopez. Brook Lopez had his way with him yesterday and embarrassed him several times. Outside of the defense being better than the Packers, is there really a huge difference in terms of the offense when it comes to the Jets? They have decent receivers. Orlando, hear me out. Cook to the Dolphins is going to happen. Here's why and what people are overlooking. It's Jalen Ramsey all over again, where he's demanding money from anyone else but Miami. Nelson, listen, he's not getting my money in Miami. So if he wants money, he's not getting money in Miami. You understand that? I doubt that he's going to come here to play for, $3 million, $4 million or something really, really low. Because that's all they're going to do. They're not going to pay him his $10 million, bro. So, I get it, man. You want to keep going with the story that has no legs. But we'll see. If he gets released and he really wants to take less money, we'll see. But if he wants to make up the $10 million salary that he's about to lose in Minnesota, he's not going to make it up here in Miami. I can tell you that. Big O Coach Spo going to the Hall of Fame? Yes, that's not even he's already a Hall of Fame coach in my book. He's the only reason why the Heat aren't absolutely terrible. I think most coaches would have missed the playoffs with this team. So, what else do we have here? Stop believing the hype. Everybody was suckered into Deebo Samuel nonsense. Well, no, I wasn't. I kept telling you guys all those Deebo Samuel reports were ridiculous because they've got to pay Waddle. They just signed Cedric and they traded for Tyreek. It's absolutely asinine to think that he would they were going to add that too on top of all of that. That makes no sense whatsoever. So, what can I tell you? All right. What else do we have here? Okay. All right. Breaking. Shams just reported Bam's been playing through a hamstring injury. Well, I am on Sham's Twitter page, and I don't see anything on Bam playing through a hamstring injury. Unless he said it on television somewhere right now. But he certainly did not tweet it out. And usually they tweet out any news that's been going on. But either way, it doesn't matter to me. Bam is what he is, no matter what. I don't even know if he really is playing with any kind of injury. Sosa says, quick question, Big O. Why do people really want to replace all the running backs we have when they did a great job behind a shaky O-line? Because they refuse to believe it. That's why. They refuse to believe what's actually staring them in the face. You know what I'm saying? I've been telling you guys about redrecover.com for a while now and red light therapy and how it's helped me grow back my hair. And for those of you out there that are in the process of losing your hair, it's got a rechargeable battery right here. You see? And you hit that light right there. Boom. The lights go on. You put on your hat. I put it on twice a day, actually. I put it on in the morning for 15 minutes, and then I put it on in the evening for 15 minutes. And it's helped my natural yarmulke here that was, it was balding, and now hair is growing there, which is absolutely amazing. So if you just started to lose your hair, go to redrecover.com. Now, you won't see the hat on the site. Go to contact us, send them an email and tell them that you heard it here. They will take care of you. Plus, they've got the wraps for the dogs because, dogs sometimes have problems with their hips as they get older. Well, small dogs or bigger dogs, some of our owners have bought those wraps. I use it for my dogs. And let me tell you something. If you have an older dog that's having some hip issues, golden retrievers and German shepherds tend to have some hip issues. These wraps are amazing. Now I'm brain farting on the dog site that has. So there's a dog site, and I don't know why I'm blanking, but they teamed up with Red Recover.
Chewy.
That's it. Thank you, sir. Chewy.com. They teamed up with Red Recover, and they put the wraps on their website because it is, it's just an amazing invention, red light therapy. It can help, make scars disappear. It can help grow your hair. It can help alleviate pain and discomfort, all kinds of things, help with old injuries, old surgeries. Red light therapy is just an absolute amazing invention. So go to redrecover.com. We've got the wraps for smaller dogs and for bigger dogs. You can check it out there. Use our code BIG-O. And then, again, if you want the hat, make sure you go to contact us on the email page and tell them that you heard it on the Big O Show and that you want to buy a hat. It'll also grow your eyebrows. Well, they do have the pad for the ladies for the crow's feet and the wrinkles here and here, because here is called crow's feet. I don't know what it's called here now. I'm not sure. But that pad, there you go, EJ. Might as well, it'll help you regrow that hair there. Why not?
Ayo.
Yes.
So I guess Bam was on the injury report with Jimmy Butler for game 4 with a hamstring injury. That's what it was.
Oh, okay. All right. Big deal. You get no excuses. You've been playing small for a couple months now since the All-Star break. So I think that's what I said, that he was playing aggressive up until the All-Star break, and then he stopped being as aggressive. Let's see. Argentina's pro-Bitcoin candidate Javier Milei is surging in the polls as voters prepare for this October's presidential election in the wake of 100% inflation. What's going on in Argentina is a crime, but they will have Bitcoin soon, and that will straighten them out a little bit more. El Salvador's, that dude has run his country masterfully. He has turned things around. What a job that guy's done. Gotten rid of all the scum on the streets. Really nice. Let's see. Britton Watkins says, Bama fan who lived in Miami during my Army time. You are so enjoyable to watch and are loyal to your guys. If Gibbs falls, do you pick him up? He's not going to fall. You know that, right? At 51? Yeah, I would actually. Yeah, hell yeah. Now, all these silly stories that we have, again, those that's another one of the I got the Derrick Henry one, I got the Gibbs one. My DMs are always smoking hot every day because you guys tend to like send me stuff that some idiot saying, some guys reporting, some other places saying this, whatever, and you guys are always sending it to me. And that one is the Gibbs trade up. Like, and it's like, look at Greer. Look at his track. His track record is he doesn't pay running backs. He doesn't draft them high. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what he does. So I don't think he's going to trade up at all for him because that's just ridiculous. But hey, if he falls to 51 and they don't have the tight end that they want there and they're not happy with a tackle, could they take a running back? God, maybe. Maybe, Britton, maybe. You know, that might be a chance. But at the moment, and you got to remember, these are things we also have to think about now as Dolphin fans, okay? You got to put yourself in the front office now, and you got to think forward, okay? So you're paying Sealer and Wilkins now coming up, okay? You got Waddle, Tua, Holland that you still got to pay, okay? After that. So, big-ass salaries are coming. Oh, Jalen Phillips. Oh, I think he wants money too down the line. So you have to also start thinking about, well, wait a minute. If I draft this guy in the second round, I'm going to have to pay him. And so then here's the thing about Gibbs. So do you waste a second-round pick on a guy for one contract? Because are you going to pay everybody? You may not be able to afford to pay running backs. It might be more important to pay, I don't know, if Cater Kohu continues to develop down the line, you may have to pay Cater Kohu after Jalen Ramsey and X are gone. I'll give you another one. Brandon Jones. What if he comes back from the injury, he looks good, and he continues to improve in coverage, and he fits perfectly in this system? Got to pay Brandon Jones. Okay, Rob Hunt. Next year, you got to pay Rob Hunt. So we have to think big. So you just can't say, oh, let's draft a guy. Well, then, okay, now think about this. I told you all these people you got to pay. So now do you want to draft a running back that you in the second or third rounds that you're going to have to pay in 4 years? Do you have the money to pay him? Is it that important? Or are you better off going the Jeff Wilson route and the Mostert route that are good running backs that are getting 4.5 yards a carry, but you're not breaking the bank? And if you take care of everybody else, including the offensive line, those running backs will still look good. But if you think you're going to pay Dalvin Cook $10 million and you're going to, draft Gibbs, and then you've got to pay him for that second contract, would you not be pissed if they draft Gibbs, but they can't pay him for a second contract, and then you spent a second rounder on him? These are all the things that you have to think about. There is money that needs to be spent coming up over the next couple of years. You have to dictate where that money is going. Is running back really the kind of priority that you need at this time? Ask yourself that question. Connor Williams is also eligible for an extension. That's also another one right there, Eric. Thank you very much. Yeah. So these are things that you have to take into account. And that's why if you're Chris Greer, like, well, why am I going to spend a second round on a running back that in 4 years I have to pay him, but I'm going to have all this money committed to all these other people? Is that a luxury I really need right now? Nah, I can get by with Jeff Wilson and Mostert for the next couple of years. Maybe Ahmed grows a little bit more. Then I elevate him and get rid of one of the other guys. And then I keep searching for a cheaper option for the future. Under the radar, 3rd, 4th, 6th rounder. Myles Gaskin was a 7th rounder, and they've milked him for some. This is what they do. I don't think they're going to use major resources at running back. I think they're going to use major resources at other positions. I hope I've been able to explain it. Yep, Harry Belafonte passed away. It was one of the oldest stars on the planet, Harry Belafonte. I just saw Gene Hackman the other day. He's like 93. He was driving his truck and putting gas and getting something to eat at a gas station at 93, dude. God bless him, bro. That is awesome. You're still walking around, you're driving, you're doing everything at 93 in a Toyota truck. Pretty cool. Greer's looking to address offensive tackle, center, inside linebacker, tight end in the draft. Last 2 rounds will be special teamers. You never know. We'll see. Britton says, no trading up for backs. I agree. But if he falls to us, I say get a cheap young talent. I don't think he's going to fall, but yeah. It's kind of like the Georgia kid at tight end, Washington. I just don't think he's going to fall to 51. Because he's so supremely gifted that if you just make him a decent pass catcher, he's going to be a monster. Because a decent pass catcher, you'll never get around that big body. And he'll be such an easy target for quarterbacks, Plus, he's going to be a hell of a blocker. He's going to be one of the best blocking tight ends in the NFL. That's why I don't think he's going to stay, last to 51. It'll be fun. And that's why I don't get crazy about the picks right now. And you'll see me get a little bit more crazy on Friday when I know who's off the board on Thursday. And then I have more of a realistic point of view of who's left, who's potential, and we'll really get into that, So I'm looking forward to having that. Big O, I think Hackman and Eastwood are competing to see who lives longer. Yeah. Yeah. Eastwood's a little older, too. Amazing how those guys, they keep cranking. I think it's, although Clint Eastwood still works, whereas Hackman has not worked in several years now. By the way, I love Gene Hackman as an actor, one of my favorite actors. I don't know how many Gene Hackman movies I love to watch. And I can watch him over and over again. He's just so good. You name it, he is great at it, And what's it called? To the fact that he's not working is amazing to me, because I truly feel that as you get older, you need passions. I think the passions keep you vibrant as you get older in your age, whether it's to exercise, whether it's a job or a career or some kind of a hobby or something like that, that I think as you get older, you cannot just sit around. I don't think that's a good thing for you, especially as you get older. I think you want to move around and you want to do some things. And I think you want your mind having a passion and something that is driving you. I think that keeps you vibrant and younger as you get older. You know what I'm saying? And I commend Eastwood that who still works almost to this day. I think he's still working to this day, even directing and stuff like that. I'm pretty amazed that, Hackman, maybe he has passions behind the scenes, that he loves to do, and maybe that keeps him, active. But I think that that's one of the important things, that as we get older, we find different passions once we're done with our careers. It just can't be about just hanging out with your loved one if you have one. I think you had to be doing something with your loved one, whatever it is, hiking, fishing, whatever, running, maybe a side business, whatever. But I think you got to keep your mind and your body going. I think it's really, really important for that. So there you go. I thought Gene Hackman was great in Behind Enemy Lines with Owen Wilson. Yeah, bro. Mississippi Burning, The Replacements, Bat 21, Chinatown. Dude, please. Gene Hackman is Just one of the greatest actors of all time. Just fantastic. Let's see. What else do we have here? Kareem Hunt has half the rushing attempts of Henry and Cook and has been very productive behind Chubb. Yeah, he's good. I like him, but, so far, they look like they're status quo. Nelson's not going to let it go. Orlando, Jalen Ramsey restructures his deal. Oh, the one that he just got agreed to? Yeah, I don't think so. Dalvin Cook will play around $6 million per year here, and they'll be willing to give him that. I'll be back for you to tell me I was right. Okay. You'll be back to tell me that you were right. Remember Andy Rooney's complaint segment at 60 Minutes? When they forced him to retire, he was dead 3 months later. You ever wondered why? Andy Rooney. Yep. All right, look at the pedophile protector. I never thought about it. Paterno pedophile protector. Penn State. A lot of P's in there. Not rest in peace, Joe Paterno. Yeah, I'm not a Paterno fan. I got no respect for the guy. Okay, I have no sympathy for him. I don't care that he's dead. He shielded a pedophile to protect his stinking program. Okay, so I have zero sympathy for him. I don't care that he's dead. But anyways, that stinking loser, when they took football away from him, he died right away, and he had cancer. And he probably, if he stayed coaching, he probably would have lived for a few more years with that cancer. So that's exactly what I'm talking about, EJ Barrow. So I'll use Paterno, who I have no sympathy for whatsoever. None. Nada. Nay. I don't care. Don't care. Orlando, respect the dead. No. No, I'm not respecting that dead. Not that guy. Not what he did. No. No shot. Big O, I'm sorry if this was brought up, but do you see a scenario where we can trade up? No, it's not happening. They're not trading up. That's all just talking crap that people are bringing up. Does Chris Greer normally give picks away? Does he really have a lot to trade up right now to the first round? He really doesn't. They're better off with 4 picks. Let me ask you guys something. This is kind of hilarious. Have you seen their track record in the second round? Why are you such in a hurry to trade up and trade your second and third and probably your fifth, your sixth and seventh in order to get a first rounder? Because you're not getting a first rounder with the second and the third, right? The 51 and 84 is not getting you in the first round. So you're going to have to give them maybe a pick for next year too. So let me just pull it up here, just here in the recent years. Let me just do this for the hell of it, since I guess some of you out there, you have not kept up with this. But let me just do this here for you, where we have it, because I know I have it here. Where's my here we go. Here we go. So it's hilarious. Oh, wait, let's trade up in the first round. Let's move up in the first round. Okay. They got Jalen Phillips. Javon Holland in the second round. Liam Eichenberg, too. They got Robert Hunt in the second round and Raekwon Davis. They picked up Mike Gesicki. Not his fault, but he's a good second-round pick. They got Xavier Howard in the second round. Like, some of their better players have been picked in the second round over the last couple of years. They actually do a pretty good job in the second round. And let's see, Javon Holland was number 36. Liam Eichenberg was number 42. Robert Hunt was 39. Raekwon Davis was 56. Gesicki was 42. Xavier Howard was 38. So they've made successful picks over the last few years in the second round, quite a few of them. Why are we in such a hurry to go get a first round pick? Xavier Howard plays like a first rounder. Javon Holland plays like a first rounder. Robert Hunt's been a really good player, maybe not a first rounder, but he's been a really good player. I think Mike Gesicki, I wanted the kid that went to Philadelphia over Gesicki. But and maybe I can say that he's been slightly better than Gesicki or not, or he's a little bit better of a blocker than Gesicki, whatever. But at that time, we weren't even thinking of blocking. Okay, Gesicki's turned out to be a hell of a player. He just wasn't used here. Wherever he goes, and now he's in the Patriots, if they throw him the ball, he's going to catch a bunch of balls and score a bunch of points and get a ton of yards. He's a hell of a player. They've done a really good job overall. They're not perfect in the second round, right? You've had a Michael Dieter in there. You've had, maybe Liam Eichenberg turns into a good player. Who knows? Raekwon Davis hasn't really lived up to the second round draft status, let's be honest, but they've hit a lot of the other ones. So let's not get crazy here. Why are you so desperate to trade to the first round when you've had a lot of success in the second round with this group? Give it some time, man. Relax. There's no hurry to have to give up all your picks to give up to the first round, and then you only get one shot. Whereas here, you got a shot in the second and third rounds to pick a pretty good player, and you might hit on the 6th or 7th round. You might hit on somebody. You never know. These guys find people that are undrafted. So they find people after the draft. I don't know what the love affair is to have to want to move up. Some guy goes to me, oh no, we've got to get into the first round. Doesn't matter. Give up the whole draft. And I'm like, really? Why? I'd rather them get 4 picks than 1. It might be 5 picks. You might have to give up something for next year also. But I'd rather stay with the picks and take the fishnet approach, and you might end up getting a couple players that could help you out. This year you might end up adding 2 players from last year's team that didn't make an impact, and that is Ezukama and Tyndall. Those 2 guys that were draft picks, the light may go on this year, and all of a sudden you just added 2 more players to your team that you didn't have last year. I just don't understand the crazy need to want to move up when the front office has actually done a pretty good job with the picks that they currently have right now. They've picked players in those positions that have been pretty good. Jules says, Big O, I'm going to miss you and Sean Thursday for the draft. Are you just refusing to work Thursday? Not even I'm doing a regular show Thursday. What I'm refusing to do is 2 shows on Thursday, do my 3 hours on Thursday, and then do a 4-hour show on a Thursday night where the Dolphins don't have a pick. And then Friday, I got to do another 3 hours. So it's not a matter of refusing. It's common sense. Why am I going to put my voice through that? Right? Because I'm the one that's talking for hours, not anybody else. You get it? So there's no reason for me to be on Thursday for 4 hours at night when there are no Dolphin draft picks. Now, if the Dolphins trade in, we will trade into the YouTube. So keep the notification bell hit. That way you know when we go live. That way you know when we're on. And if the Dolphins make a move, I will be there. Okay, I'll be watching and everything. But I'm not going to sit here for 4 hours and talk about everybody else's draft picks. I'm not doing that. I'm just not doing that. So it's a matter of common sense. And I've already had a polyp in my throat, okay, right in the middle of my vocal cords. And my doctor told me it's from 30 years of beating it up. So I've gone through that operation and everything. I don't need to strain my voice to the point where I develop another polyp in my throat, okay? Because he told me that, singers, teachers, coaches or broadcasters, people that talk a lot, have those are the kind of people that end up developing polyps in their throats. And luckily it was, benign and nothing wrong or anything. But once you've had it, you have a tendency of redeveloping it. And so I'm not going to beat up my throat for a Thursday night show that there's nothing there. It's not fair to Sean. It's not fair to me. And I know that for you guys, it's not a deal. It doesn't hurt you guys because you just tune in. But for me, it's not worth it, man. It's not worth it. If the Dolphins had a pick, I'd do it in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. So I guarantee you this. If the Dolphins make a move into the first round and there's a Dolphins related move, they trade somebody or something, I don't know. Whatever. I'll pop in with Sean and we'll get something done. But we will be on Friday night and we'll be on through the third pick. Once the 84th pick is made, we're off. That's what we'll do. Okay? So, Jason Myers, thank you, sir, for the love on the super chat. He says, just wanted to send some money to put these guys in their place. Thanks, Big O. Thank you, man. It's very nice of you. Very nice. Thank you. And yes, it is Dallas Goedert. For those of you that sent it in. On draft day, I wanted Goddard over Gesicki. That was my pick. And both turned out to be terrific players. Both were very good. So neither one was a bad pick at all. Let me see, what else do we have? Let me check here. We got anything going on Cash App or Venmo? Remember, you can make a donation through Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show. Okay, what else do we have? Wow. Holy shit. Did you hear about this? Thursday, July 6th at the Hard Rock Live. LL Cool J, The Roots, DJ Jazzy Jeff, which I really don't give a shit, Rakim, and Queen Latifah. Now, how is DJ Jazzy Jeff playing ahead of Rakim and Queen Latifah? Can anybody answer that one for me? The Roots is supposed to be ahead of Rakim and Queen Latifah. I got no problem with that one. I got a problem if Jazzy Jeff is the third guy on the bill ahead of Rakim and Queen Latifah. Who is Jazzy Jeff without punch you in the or slap you in the face Will Smith? Yes, sir, Sean.
I think that's a scheduled bathroom break.
I got to go to this concert. I mean, I have to be at this concert. I love LL Cool J. Big. And the Roots. Fuck. Love the Roots. Rakim is, come on, man. And Queen Latifah. Come on. Way better rapper than what's that? Than an Equalizer. She's a good singer too, good actress. I'll tell you, Queen Latifah, man, God bless her. She has done a marvelous job, transitioning to different things in her career. She's really likable too. That's the other thing about Queen Latifah. Very likable person. Miles Deep says, top of the morning, Big O and Sean. Greeting from Vegas, brothers. Let's go Heat and Fins. Thank you, sir. EJ Barro, protect your throat. Hole, Mon. Big O, I was all set to send you a carton of lemons and limes and a big jug of honey. Well, I got my limes and honey already. My wife takes care of me every day. And thanks to all of you out there for that. I forgot which one of you actually, is the one that mentioned this to me a few years back. But thanks to you all, this has helped my my life a lot in doing the show. Follow the leader. Yeah, baby, Eric B. and Raheem. Thinking of a master plan. Big O, remember Jazzy Jeff is artist along with as a DJ, selector, and music work. No, I get that, but if he's performing, my point is, if that's the real order, okay, LL Cool J has to be number one because, Jesus Christ, how many rappers have even accomplished as much as LL? So I get that. The Roots number two, that's normal. But if Jazzy Jeff is really coming out after the Roots and Raheem and Queen Latifah opened up for Jazzy Jeff, I got a problem with that, bro. I have a huge problem with that. I have an enormous problem with that. I really do. Like, put it this way. I shit you not. It should be Jazzy Jeff opening up. This allows me to get to the concert a little later. Okay? Allows me to chill because I don't really care about Jazzy Jeff. I don't give a shit about Jazzy Jeff. Who cares about Jazzy Jeff? I don't care about his DJ prowess. I certainly don't care about his rapping. He means nothing to me in my world of my understanding and my love for rap. Raheem, hell yeah. Queen Latifah, of course, pioneer. The Roots, come on, man. That's a phenomenal band. I'll take my pick and everything just in honor of the Roots. But Jazzy Jeff doesn't even belong in that concert. Jazzy Jeff should be like in the background like DJ Irie and shit, filling in between the acts, playing some songs or something. Will Smith slapping him in between artists or something. I don't know. Jazzy Jeff, kiss my ass. I like the Equalizer show, but the new Magnum PI sucks, bro. The dude has no mustache, bro. I can't take the new guy seriously driving the knockoff Ferrari. Where's the nostalgia? I haven't even watched it, bro. I gave the new MacGyver like one episode, and I was like, all these. The only one of the remakes that I actually enjoyed is Hawaii Five-0. Out of all, I don't think I've enjoyed any of these remakes. And look, I get it. Hollywood has no creativity, so they can't come up with their own shit. So they just copy everything that's happened nowadays and just redo things or whatever. It's ridiculous. Big O, I'm broke after buying VIP U2 tickets. Can I mow your lawn to make some damn money? Cutter's Edge. I could talk to Will. He might have some extra work for you because they got a lot of work. Dade, Broward, Palm Beach counties. Call my friends at Cutter's Edge. Watch out, Will Smith might hear you. Big O, I might have been the one to suggest the lime honey originally. My mom got me into it from sore throats, but regardless, just happy it helped you. Well, if it was you, Brett, because I can't say I remember it. Man, I have all these presents at times that people give me, and I forget the names at times, and that's kind of crazy, you know. I should like write names on this kind of stuff sometimes. So I forgot who it was, which one of you suggested the honey and lime, but thank you so much. And if it was you, Brett, thank you, man. I really appreciate that immensely because it's really helped me immensely. I hope the Jazzy Jeff fan club president isn't listening to the show right now. I know, Pat, right? He might be mad there. Big O, has there been a Heat player that has done more with less than Jimmy has done in his time? Nobody, Gonzo, because, you know, Rice had Cycli and Sherman Douglas and guys like that. I mean, Wade got to those playoffs in 08 and 09 with Rasul Butler and those kind of cats. There wasn't a lot there. So that might be something equal to it. You know what I mean? That's the closest it gets. But then you get to the big three, and they had their own support staff. You get to, I know Hardaway and Zoe and all those, they had to deal with Michael Jordan, but Hardaway had Zoe and Marley and Grant and PJ Brown. And, it was just so many people that were on that team. They were loaded. So all those stars had, or all stars had other players on there that could help them out. Jimmy Butler doesn't have anybody, dude. He has a rotation of guys that he has no idea who's going to show up. He has no one that's going to be his Robin every single night. So, my brother, you are 1,000% right. There is nobody in the history of the Heat that has done more with less than Jimmy Butler. Thanks to the front office and to Jimmy Butler, they have screwed themselves. Okay, because Jimmy screwed himself first and foremost by bringing Kyle Lowry over. And then the front office was, dumb enough to bring Kyle Lowry over. And now they've ruined the 4 years that we've had of Jimmy Butler here. Unfortunately. That's why, as painful as it is, if you find a taker this summer for Jimmy Butler, you must make the move, because you don't have the capital to go get a star above Jimmy Butler. So that's the only way you're going to win a title. If you can go grab a star somewhere that's better than Jimmy Butler, so Jimmy's the number 2. Okay? So if you can't do that, you'll never be a championship contender. So, and I get it. It'll be painful to lose Jimmy, but that's all you're going to have for the next 3 years as you watch him get older, more broken down, and plays less games and less games. I'll repeat it again. The reason why you're an 8th seed is because Jimmy Butler can only play 75, 80% of the games this year. If he could play 95% of the games, you'd be a 4 or 5 seed. But unfortunately, because he can't, do you think it's going to get any better over the next 3 years? No. So if you can't get that star above Jimmy, you might be better off trading him this offseason. His value is still really high. And somebody's going to say, we're that guy away from a title. But Miami is several guys away from a title, because they just don't have enough SOBs on that team. Dan B, thank you for the love on the super chat. Says, good afternoon, Big O and Sean. Wanted to send some money your way when I can. Great show as always. Quick, if Hooker falls to 51, do you think Greer will take him? If not, what's your opinion on where they will go? O-line or tight end? Go Fins. I think they're going to go tight end. Okay? I think they're going to go tight end. I think O-line might be the second option if they don't like the tight end there and they think the O-line option is awesome. But I'm going to go first tight end, then O-line. I don't think they're going to go quarterback. Now, if Hendon Hooker falls to 51, I've said this before, I think you have to try to get him. Because you can either develop him and trade him if everything goes well with Tua, and you're going to get a lot more in return because he comes back from that knee injury. You what's it called? You get him out there playing on blowouts and things like that, and then you showcase him the following offseason in the preseason where he plays the entire preseason, like Green Bay did with Tim Hasselbeck. Again, you got to be a little older so you can have perspective and see how things have happened in the past. And the Green Bay Packers, when they had Brett Favre, they drafted a guy named Tim Hasselbeck. And Matt Hasselbeck. And and what they did was for 2 years, they showcased him in the preseason. And Matt just would light it up. So Miami and the Seahawks ended up battling for the services to trade for Matt Hasselbeck from the Packers. They offered a first. Wanstead offered a second. He went to Seattle. He took him to a Super Bowl and everything, by the way. Matt Hasselbeck was a good quarterback. Not a great quarterback, but a very good quarterback. You could win a championship with Matt Hasselbeck. Let's put it that way. Matt Hasselbeck was more than good enough of a quarterback to win a championship. If you had a championship-type team around him, you can easily win a championship with Matt Hasselbeck. And we did not offer enough. And I believe Matt Hasselbeck was like a middle-round pick or something for the Packers. And Ron Wolf improved it to a first-rounder. So he trades Matt Hasselbeck. And the rest is history. And so if you're Miami, you draft Hendon Hooker. You say, okay, we can't pass up a talent like this in the second round at 51. Let's take him. We'll develop him. And if Tua stays healthy and everything goes well, then we trade him for more picks, more than just the 51 that we spent. We'll get a first rounder from somebody. Why? Because we'll get him healthy. We'll play him in blowouts. When Tua and company are taking care of, the Patriots and they're up by 25-30, you send in Hendon Hooker in the second half of the season, plays well, then you get him in the preseason, you have him showcase and kick ass, teams will line up to trade for him. So, yeah, I would draft Hendon Hooker at 51. Not because I want to replace Tua, but just because I want to have an insurance policy just in case. And two, I can turn it into way more capital than 51. And to me, that's the important part. That's what I would like to do. So there you go. You lost me with this Hooker crap. Well, if she's fine, she's giving you a decent price, why won't you go with the Hooker? Anyway. We want to win playoff games in Super Bowl, not worry about developing a 25-year-old with an ACL injury. That's the way it goes. But that 25-year-old could bring you multiple picks. Hooker probably would have been a number one pick. If he falls to 51, we really have to consider it. But I don't think he will. He's not falling to 51. There's no shot he falls to 51. Somebody will take him in the first round somewhere. Okay? Guaranteed. So. Kurt Warner was in the same QB room in 94 for the Packers. Yes. Mark Brunell, Kurt Warner, he was cut. They kept Aaron Brooks, they kept Mark Brunell, Aaron Brooks, and Brett Favre. They cut Kurt Warner. They traded Aaron Brooks to Seattle for a 4th-round pick. They traded Mark Brunell to the Jacksonville Jags for a 5th-round pick. And then they drafted Matt Hasselbeck. Ron Wolf, bro. Ron Wolf is the effing man. Ron Wolf was smart. He would keep that quarterback chip going, and I don't have a problem with that. Because if you can get a quarterback on your roster that you can then trade for way more picks, that sets you up as a front office. That's very smart moves in the front office. Big O, no way. I don't like Hooker at 51. We need an O-line or tight end. I know what they need, dude. I know what they need. But Hooker is not going to be there at 51. But if he falls to 51, then I think that's something that you have to consider. Because you can trade him for a lot more down the line. And that's the bottom line. Ravens will take Hooker if he falls to him. If they don't, they're really stupid. Because he might be a better passer than Lamar Jackson. So, again, not going to happen. He's not falling to 51. But if by some miracle, I think it's something that you have to definitely think of. So, Jalen Hurts. We got an article out. So Jalen Hurts, for those of you that haven't seen it, he was asked in a press conference about his contract. And so he signed a 5-year contract worth $255 million. $178 million was guaranteed. Now, reports have said the Ravens offered Jackson $250 million with $175 million guaranteed at first. and another $25 million coming after year 3. Jackson would make $50 million per season, while Hurts is set to make $51. Speaking at a press conference about his new deal, Hurts was asked why didn't he want a fully guaranteed contract. Hurts went on to say, you look at the best teams in the league, it takes a village. So he's meaning, the guaranteed deal might put more pressure on putting things around him. And then he added, he said, money is nice, championships are better. So now they're twisting this whole thing, okay? And now they're twisting it in a way where it's sending it to Lamar Jackson. So, the article starts Lamar Jackson, the Ravens. So they're already throwing Lamar Jackson under the bus when Jalen Hurts never threw Lamar Jackson under the bus. He told you. Now you see the headline, Lamar Jackson gets roasted after Jalen Hurts' latest comments, right? Now he's telling you, it takes a village. People are going to start spinning it like, oh, you see, he's kind of taking a backhanded shot at Lamar. No, he's not. And by the way, that's what Pat Mahomes did. Pat Mahomes probably could ask for more money and more guarantees and all that, but he kind of set up a cap-friendly type deal down the line where they can keep adding around him. Tom Brady did it for years. He would take less because Gisele Bündchen made so much money, he didn't have to make nearly as much money, and he would take less. So why do we have to throw Jalen Hurts into a Lamar Jackson story? And why do we have to make Lamar Jackson look like the bad guy here? Lamar Jackson, while it's bad business on his part, while I disagree completely on what Lamar Jackson is and all that stuff, he's entitled to feel however he wants, and he's entitled to want whatever he thinks he's valued. That's up to him. You and I can argue about what's he valued. Is he worth it? Is he a good quarterback? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You and I can argue about that till the end of time. But Lamar Jackson's not a bad person. Never has been. He's always been a hardworking, great young man. Now, do I think he's doing business things in the right way? No, I think he's being really dumb. I think he's been dumb for a while when it comes to running his career. I think he should have had a contract 2 years ago. Okay, but that's just me. That's my opinion. This is the way he wants to carry himself. That's fine. But he's not a bad guy. Okay, he saw somebody else get a guaranteed deal, and he feels he's entitled to the same thing because he's accomplished more than that guy. He's entitled to think that way. Do you know why? He has accomplished more than Deshaun Watson. He's a much better person than Deshaun. In fact, even comparing Lamar Jackson that's an insult to Lamar Jackson. Any decent man is way better than anything Deshaun Watson is. Okay, because that guy is crap. So Lamar has carried himself in a perfect fashion, has been a terrific teammate, has played hard, has sacrificed his body. He's done everything right. Do I think he's a good passer? No. Do I think he'll ever be a good passer? No. Do I think he should have had an agent 2 years ago? Hells to the yeah, especially the quarterback position. So I think he's mishandled all that. But that's my opinion. Just like he has his opinion on what he's valued. But at no point have you ever seen me or heard me say that Lamar is a bad dude, a greedy dude, whatever. No, all I tell you is he's dumb the way he's mishandled his career. That's the only thing I'll tell you. I'll tell you, I don't think he's that good a passer. I'll tell you that. But he's not a bad person. We shouldn't put him paint him in a corner like he's a bad person here. He's doing business, whether you agree with it or not. That's all we can do. But I don't like that the media, just like what they do with Tua, he's damned if he do, damned if he don't. Oh, no, you're not. What do you mean you're not thinking about retirement? You just got concussed twice in the last couple of weeks. Your life is on the line. This, that, everything. During the middle of the season, we had all these people, news people. Everybody wanted Tua to retire. And then now they find out that he had a conversation. Oh my God, he talked. How dare he talk the R word? That's bullshit, dude. And this is bullshit too. Doing that to Lamar. We can agree or disagree. That's what sports is all about. But let's not put people in a place where they don't belong, and let's not make them out to be what they're not. Lamar's not a bad dude. Never has been. He's a great young man. He's a terrific example for most people out there. Okay? We can agree or disagree with his business decision. But it's his body, it's his career, and it's his decision on how he wants to handle his business. I just find it unfair that now they're using the Jalen Hurts story and they want to paint him in a bad spot, and that's just not right. All right, we're out of here. We thank Cameron Wolf. We thank Manny Navarro. As always, great stuff by them. We thank Sean Stanley, the man, the myth, the legend that masters this platform every single day. And we thank all of you out there. As always, we will see you tomorrow morning at 8:45 as we get you ready for a little redrecover.com Inside the Paint show. Same time, same place, same bat channel. Have a great one.
This is the Big O Show.